Bradley Hutchins's expensive Italian leather shoe connected with Jasmine Reed's pregnant belly with a sickening thud that echoed through the cabin of Delta Flight 1847. The force sent her stumbling backward into the armrest, her hands instinctively wrapping around her 7-month swollen stomach as passengers gasped in collective horror. Her FBI credentials tumbled from her bag, the gold badge catching the overhead lights as it clattered onto the worn airplane carpet. Bradley's flushed face twisted with alcohol-fueled rage just seconds before suddenly drained of all color. His mouth fell open. His body went rigid. Time seemed to freeze as 47 passengers pulled out their phones, recording the exact moment a wealthy white pharmaceutical executive realized he'd just assaulted a federal agent and her baby. Before we dive into what happened next, hit that subscribe button and stay with us until the very end of this story, because what unfolds will shock you. Drop a comment telling us what city you're watching from so we can see how far this story travels. Now let me take you back to where it all began. Jasmine Reed had learned long ago that airplanes were strange equalizers. 30,000 feet in the air, everyone breathed the same recycled oxygen, ate the same mediocre food, and pretended the person sitting 18 inches away didn't exist. She'd been flying for work since she joined the FBI 12 years ago, and in all that time she'd developed a simple rule: keep your head down, do your work, get home safe. Today, that rule was about to shatter. She settled into seat 12B with the careful movements of a woman 7 months pregnant. Her back ached. Her ankles were swollen despite the compression socks her doctor insisted she wear. The civil rights case she just testified on in Chicago had drained every ounce of her energy, and all she wanted was to close her eyes for the 3-hour flight back to Miami, where her husband Marcus was waiting with dinner from her favorite Cuban restaurant. The baby kicked. Jasmine smiled, placing her hand over the spot where a tiny foot pressed against her ribs. "Easy there, sweet girl," she whispered. "Mama's tired." She pulled out her copy of What to Expect When You're Expecting a Book that had become more dog-eared with each passing week. The section on third trimester complications was bookmarked. Her blood pressure had been running high lately. Stress, her OB said. Try to relax. Relax. Right. The boarding process continued around her. Business travelers in their suits, college kids heading home, an elderly couple holding hands as they shuffled down the aisle. Jasmine had always loved people watching, reading the stories written in their faces, their body language, their choices. It was what made her good at her job. Then Bradley Hutchins appeared. She noticed him immediately because he was loud, not just talking loud, but existing loud. His presence filled the space like cigarette smoke impossible to ignore. 6 feet tall, graying hair, styled with too much product, wearing a suit that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. His face was flushed red splotches creeping up his neck into his cheeks. Drunk Jasmine thought immediately. Or getting there. He was talking on his phone, ignoring the flight attendant's polite request to finish his conversation. "I don't care what Mitchell says," Bradley barked into the phone. "The shipment goes out Tuesday, or we're pulling the contract. You tell him I said that." The flight attendant, a young woman whose name tag read Sarah Chen, tried again. "Sir, we need you to end your call so we can prepare for departure." Bradley held up one finger. "Not now." Sarah's professional smile tightened. "No, you listen to me," Bradley continued into the phone. "I've been doing this for 20 years. I know how to handle logistics. Just make sure your people don't screw it up like last time." He ended the call with an aggressive jab at his screen, then looked at his boarding pass. Row 12. Jasmine felt it before she saw it, that shift in the air that told her something was wrong. She'd learned to trust that feeling. It had saved her life twice in the field. Bradley stopped at row 12 and looked at her. Really looked at her. His eyes moved from her face to her pregnant belly to her natural hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. Something flickered across his expression. Disgust, annoyance. Both. "You're in my row," he said. Not hello, not excuse me. Just a statement of fact delivered with the tone of someone who'd never been told no in his entire life. "Yes, sir," Jasmine said evenly. "I'm in the aisle seat. You must be the window or middle." She kept her voice neutral, professional, the voice she used when interviewing suspects who thought they were smarter than her. Bradley checked his boarding pass again, frowning. "Middle seat. Are you kidding me? I specifically requested aisle." "I'm sorry about that," Jasmine said, though she wasn't sorry at all. She'd checked in exactly 24 hours before departure to get this seat. "But this is my assigned seat." "Can you switch?" It wasn't really a question. "I'd prefer not to," Jasmine said. "I'm 7 months pregnant and I need to use the restroom frequently. The aisle seat makes that easier." The explanation was reasonable, polite even. She'd given him a clear, logical reason. Most people would have accepted it and moved on. Bradley wasn't most people.
"Of course," he muttered just loud enough for her to hear. "Of course you'd make this difficult." Jasmine's jaw tightened. "Excuse me?" "Nothing." Bradley shoved his carry-on into the overhead bin with more force than necessary. "Forget it." But it wasn't nothing. They both knew it. He dropped into the middle seat with a heavy sigh, his body language screaming resentment. He smelled like expensive cologne mixed with alcohol, the kind of smell that came from day drinking in airport lounges. Sarah appeared again, her professional mask firmly in place. "Sir, I'm going to need you to fasten your seatbelt and prepare your items for takeoff." "I know how to fly," Bradley snapped. "I fly every week." "I'm sure you do, sir. I just need to verify that—" "I said I know how to fly." Sarah's smile never wavered, but Jasmine saw the flash of frustration in her eyes. 20-something years old, probably dealing with entitled passengers like Bradley every single day, and still maintaining her composure. "Let me know if you need anything," Sarah said, moving on to the next row. The plane began to push back from the gate. The safety video played on the screens. Jasmine tried to focus on her book, but she could feel Bradley's presence beside her, radiating hostility like heat from a radiator. "You people," Bradley muttered. Jasmine's head snapped up. "Excuse me." "Nothing." "No, I heard you. What did you mean by that?" Bradley's face flushed darker. "I didn't mean anything, just making an observation." What observation would that be? The woman in the window seat, a Hispanic woman in her 50s, reading a romance novel, was suddenly very interested in her book, her eyes not moving across the page. "Just that you people always seem to take up so much space," Bradley said, his voice getting louder. "First class is full, so I'm stuck back here, and now I can't even get an aisle seat because you need special accommodations." Jasmine felt the baby kick again, harder this time, as if responding to her rising heart rate. "I'm pregnant," she said slowly, carefully. "That's not a special accommodation. That's a medical reality. And I fly 50 weeks a year for work. Maybe I deserve some consideration too. Maybe you should have checked in earlier." It was petty, she knew, but the words came out before she could stop them. Bradley's eyes narrowed. "What did you say to me?" "I said maybe you should have planned better." "Do you have any idea who I am?" Jasmine closed her book. "Should I?" "I'm Bradley Hutchins, Hutch Pharma. We supply medications to half the hospitals in this country." "Congratulations!" The sarcasm in her voice was unmistakable now. She was done being polite. Bradley leaned closer, and she could smell the whiskey on his breath. "You've got an attitude problem. And you've got a drinking problem. I can smell it from here." The woman in the window seat gasped softly. Bradley's face went from red to purple. "How dare you? Do you know how much I paid for this ticket? Same as everyone else in this section, I imagine. You think you're so smart, don't you? Let me guess, affirmative action, higher diversity quota." The words hit like physical blows. Jasmine had heard variations of this her entire career. Every accomplishment questioned, every achievement attributed to anything except her own merit. "I earned my position," she said, her voice deadly quiet. "Something you clearly wouldn't understand." "My position?" Bradley laughed a harsh sound. "What position? What do you even do?" Jasmine didn't answer. Her training told her to de-escalate, walk away, call the flight attendant. But something in Bradley's smug expression made her want to wipe it off his face. "That's what I thought," Bradley continued. "Probably some government paper pusher, another waste of taxpayer money." The plane had reached the runway now. The engines were powering up for takeoff. Jasmine felt the familiar pressure as they accelerated. She should have let it go, should have put her headphones in and ignored him, should have been the bigger person. But she was tired, so tired. Tired of men like Bradley Hutchins thinking they owned the world. Tired of being questioned and doubted and dismissed. Tired of swallowing her anger to make other people comfortable. "You know what your problem is," Jasmine said, turning to face him fully. "You think your money and your whiteness entitle you to treat people however you want. But up here at 30,000 feet, you're just another passenger. Just like me. Just like everyone else on this plane." Bradley's face contorted with rage. "You don't get to talk to me like that. You don't get to—" "Sir." Sarah was back, her professional voice strained. "I'm going to need you to lower your voice. We're about to take off." "She started it," Bradley said, pointing at Jasmine like a child on a playground. "I don't care who started it," Sarah said firmly. "I'm ending it. Both of you need to calm down or we'll have to return to the gate." Jasmine took a deep breath. "I apologize. You're right. I'll keep quiet." Bradley said nothing, just glared at her with pure hatred in his eyes. The plane lifted off, Miami bound. For 20 minutes there was silence. Jasmine tried to read her book, but the words swam on the page. Her heart was racing. The baby was kicking continuously, now responding to her stress hormones. "Breathe," she told herself. "Just breathe." Beside her, Bradley was scrolling through his phone, his jaw clenched tight. Then he made a phone call. "Yeah, it's me," he said into his phone, not bothering to keep his voice down. "No, I'm on the plane. Listen, we need to reroute the Tuesday shipment. Something's come up." Jasmine's ears perked up despite herself. Professional habit. "I don't care about the logistics," Bradley continued. "Just make it happen. Use the secondary warehouse if you have to. And make sure Cooper knows to keep his mouth shut. The last thing we need is more attention." Cooper. Jasmine knew that name. Detective Ray Cooper, Miami PD. He'd been flagged in an internal FBI investigation 6 months ago for possible corruption, but they hadn't been able to make anything stick. "No, the product is clean," Bradley was saying. "The problem is the distribution network. Too many people asking questions. We need to streamline. Product, distribution network." The language was vague enough to be legitimate business talk, but something about his tone set off alarm bells in Jasmine's head. "Just handle it," Bradley said. "I'll be in Miami in 3 hours. We'll sort it out then." He ended the call and caught Jasmine looking at him. "Problem?" he asked. "No," she said. "Just hard not to overhear." "Then maybe you should mind your own business." "Kind of hard when you're shouting into your phone." Bradley's eyes flashed. "You know what, I've had enough of you." "The feeling's mutual." "No, I mean, I've really had enough. You think you can sit there with your attitude taking up space, acting like you belong here." "I do belong here. I bought a ticket. Same as you. You don't belong anywhere near me." The words hung in the air, their meaning crystal clear. Jasmine felt something shift inside her. Not fear. She'd faced down cartel members and domestic terrorists. Bradley Hutchins didn't scare her. But she felt a deep, bone-tired sadness that even here, even now, even 7 months pregnant, and just trying to get home to her husband, she still had to prove her right to exist in shared spaces. "I'm going to ask you one more time to leave me alone," she said quietly. "Or what? You'll report me. Go ahead. I've got lawyers who cost more per hour than you probably make in a week. This isn't about money. Everything's about money. That's the difference between people like me and people like you. We understand how the world actually works." Jasmine started to respond, but Bradley wasn't done. "You want to know what I think?" he said, his voice rising again. "I think you people need to learn your place. I think you need to understand that just because you've got some government job, that doesn't make you special. That doesn't make you equal to. That's enough." The voice came from across the aisle, a black man in his 40s wearing a clergy collar. "Brother, you need to check yourself." "Stay out of this," Bradley snapped. "Can't do that. Not when I see a pregnant woman being harassed." "I'm not harassing anyone. I'm having a conversation." "That's not what it sounds like to me." Other passengers were paying attention now.
A college-age girl had her phone out recording. An elderly white couple was whispering to each other, frowning. Sarah appeared again, and this time she wasn't alone. A male flight attendant, his name tag reading David, stood beside her. "Sir," Sarah said to Bradley, "we've received multiple complaints about your behavior. I need you to calm down immediately, or we'll have to divert this flight." "Complaints from who?" "From her." Bradley pointed at Jasmine. "She's been provoking me since we sat down." "That's not true," the woman in the window seat said suddenly, her voice small but clear. "I've been sitting here the whole time. She hasn't done anything. He's been hostile since he sat down." "Thank you, ma'am," Sarah said. Then to Bradley, "Sir, this is your final warning." Bradley's face had gone from purple to almost white. He was shaking with rage. "This is discrimination," he said. "You're taking her side because of what she looks like." "I'm taking her side because she's done nothing wrong," Sarah said firmly. "And because you're creating a disturbance. Now please calm down or we will have to take further action." "Further action?" Bradley laughed. "Do you know who I am? Do you know how many miles I have with this airline? I could have your job with one phone call." "That may be, sir, but right now on this plane I'm in charge of safety and passenger comfort, and you're threatening both." For a moment, Jasmine thought it was over. Bradley slumped back in his seat, breathing hard, looking like a balloon that had lost all its air. But then his phone rang again. He answered it immediately, ignoring Sarah's sharp look. "What?" he barked into the phone. "No, I told you to." "What do you mean he's asking questions? Who—" "God damn it, no, we can't move it. The schedule is— Yes, I understand the risk, but—" His eyes darted around the cabin, paranoid, and landed on Jasmine. And something in his expression changed. Recognition, fear, calculation. "I'll call you back," he said into the phone, his voice suddenly quiet. He hung up and stared at Jasmine. "You," he said slowly. "I've seen you before." Jasmine's heart skipped. "I don't think so." "No, I have. About 2 months ago. You were at the Federal Building in Miami, coming out of the main entrance. I was there for a meeting with my lawyer." Jasmine said nothing. She had been at the Federal Building 2 months ago, multiple times. It was where she worked. "You're FBI," Bradley said, his voice barely above a whisper. The woman in the window seat gasped. "What?" Sarah asked. But Bradley wasn't looking at her. He was staring at Jasmine with an expression of growing horror. "You're FBI," he repeated louder now. "That's why you're asking questions. That's why you were listening to my phone call. You're investigating me." "I have no idea what you're talking about," Jasmine said, keeping her voice calm. "Don't lie to me," Bradley shouted, standing up so fast his seatbelt flew off. "I know what you people do. I know how you operate. Plant someone on a plane, pretend it's random, listen to private conversations." "Sir, sit down," David commanded. "She's FBI." Bradley was fully panicking now, his voice echoing through the cabin. "She's been spying on me this whole time. This wasn't random. They sent her here to—" "Nobody sent me anywhere," Jasmine said, her hands protectively covering her stomach. "I'm just trying to get home to my husband." "Liar! You're investigating Hutch Pharma. That's what this is about. That's why you've been provoking me, trying to get me to say something incriminating." "Sir, I need you to sit down right now," Sarah said, her voice sharp with authority. But Bradley wasn't listening anymore. He was spiraling, trapped in his own paranoia, seeing conspiracies where there were none. "You think you're so smart," he said to Jasmine. "You think you can just sit there pregnant and innocent and I won't see through it. But I know what you are. I know what you're doing." "I'm not doing anything," Jasmine said. And it was true. She hadn't been investigating Bradley Hutchins, hadn't even known who he was before today. But his reaction was telling her everything she needed to know. He was guilty of something big enough that the mere presence of an FBI agent sent him into full panic mode. "Stay away from me," Bradley said, backing into the aisle. "Stay away from my company. You have no right to—" "Sir, sit down now or I will call the captain and we will land this plane," David said, moving to block Bradley's path to first class. Bradley's eyes were wild now, darting between Jasmine, the flight attendants, the passengers watching with their phones out. He was trapped, and he knew it. That's when Jasmine saw his body language shift, saw the moment his fear turned into something else, something dangerous. You want to investigate me, Bradley said quietly. You want to ruin my life. Fine, let's see how your investigation goes when you're in the hospital. The threat was clear, unmistakable. Sir, that's threatening a federal officer, Jasmine said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. You need to calm down right now. Or, what, you'll arrest me on a plane? I'd like to see you try. I can and I will if you don't. That's when Bradley moved. It happened fast. One moment he was standing in the aisle, hands clenched into fists. The next, he'd lunged forward, his expensive Italian leather shoe connecting with Jasmine's pregnant belly with a force that drove the air from her lungs. The pain was immediate and blinding. Jasmine's hands flew to her stomach, her body doubling over as she tried to protect her baby. The baby that wasn't moving anymore. The baby that had been kicking just seconds ago. Her bag fell from her lap, spilling its contents across the floor, including her FBI credentials. The gold badge caught the overhead lights spinning across the carpet before coming to rest at Bradley's feet. The cabin went silent. 47 passengers held their breath. Sarah and David stood frozen, their mouths open in shock. And Bradley Hutchins, wealthy pharmaceutical executive, looked down at the badge, then up at Jasmine's face, twisted in pain, and the color drained from his face like water from a broken glass. "Oh, God," he whispered. "Oh, God, what did I just do?" Jasmine couldn't answer, couldn't speak. All she could do was hold her stomach and pray that her baby was okay, that the kick hadn't done permanent damage, that the sharp pain radiating through her abdomen was just trauma, not something worse. The baby, her daughter. Please move, Jasmine thought desperately. Please, baby girl, please kick. Please be okay. But there was only stillness, only silence where there had been constant movement. "Someone call for help," the minister shouted from across the aisle. "I'm a doctor." A man was pushing his way down from first class, middle-aged, kind eyes, steady hands. "Let me through." Sarah was on the phone with the cockpit, her voice shaking. "Captain, we need an emergency landing. Immediate. We have a pregnant passenger who's been assaulted and—" Bradley stumbled backward, his eyes locked on the badge. "I didn't know. She was spying on me. You assaulted a federal agent," David said, his voice cold. "And a pregnant woman. Sir, you need to stay right where you are." "This is her fault," Bradley said, but his voice had lost all its earlier conviction. "She was asking questions. I wasn't doing anything," Jasmine managed to gasp out. "I was just trying to get home." The doctor reached her, his hands gentle as he examined her. "Can you tell me where it hurts? Are you bleeding? Is the baby moving?" "I don't know," Jasmine whispered. "She was kicking before, but now I can't feel her." "Okay, we're going to check. Try to stay calm. Stress isn't good for the baby. Stay calm." As if that were possible. Jasmine's mind was racing through everything that could go wrong. Placental abruption, internal bleeding, premature labor, fetal distress. She'd read about all of it in her pregnancy books, had highlighted passages, had told herself she was being overprepared, too paranoid. Now she wished she'd memorized every word. "Flight attendant," the doctor called to Sarah. "Do you have a blood pressure cuff, a stethoscope, a fetal Doppler?" "We have a medical kit, I'll get it." Bradley was still standing in the aisle, frozen, staring at his own hands, as if they belonged to someone else. "I want to make a statement," he said suddenly. "I want it on record that she provoked me. That she—" "Shut up," the minister said. "Just shut your mouth before you make it worse. She was investigating me." "She's pregnant," the woman in the window seat shouted. "She's 7 months pregnant and you kicked her. What is wrong with you?" The pilot's voice came over the intercom. "Ladies and gentlemen, we are making an emergency landing in Atlanta. Medical personnel will meet us at the gate. Please remain calm and stay in your seats." Atlanta. Still 90 minutes from Miami, 90 minutes from Marcus, 90 minutes from her own doctor, her own hospital, everything familiar. Sarah returned with the medical kit. The doctor pulled out a fetal Doppler, the small device used to listen to the baby's heartbeat. "Please," Jasmine prayed silently. "Please let her be okay. Please." The doctor placed the Doppler on her stomach, moving it slowly, searching. Seconds passed, then more seconds. Jasmine stopped breathing. And then faint but steady, the sound of a heartbeat filled the air. Thump, 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 thump. Jasmine burst into tears. Relief flooded through her so completely that her whole body shook with it. "There she is," the doctor said softly, smiling. "Strong heartbeat. 150 beats per minute. That's excellent." "She's okay?" Jasmine asked, hardly daring to believe it. "For now, yes. But you still need to be examined at a hospital. Make sure there's no internal damage, no complications." "Can you feel her moving yet?" Jasmine concentrated, and there, faint but unmistakable, a small flutter. Then a kick. "Yes," she breathed. "Yes, she's moving." The doctor nodded, checking her blood pressure. 140/90. Elevated, but not dangerously so. "We'll keep monitoring you until we land. Try to stay as calm as possible." Behind them, David had a hand on Bradley's shoulder, keeping him in place. "I need to call my lawyer," Bradley was saying. "I have rights. You have the right to remain silent," Jasmine said, her voice stronger now. She reached down and picked up her FBI credentials, holding them up so Bradley could see them clearly. "Which I suggest you exercise, because right now you're looking at assault on a federal officer, assault on a pregnant woman, and depending on what you were talking about on those phone calls, possibly a lot more." Bradley's face went from white to gray. "You can't... This was entrapment. Entrapment requires me to induce you to commit a crime. You did this all on your own. I want my lawyer. You'll get your lawyer. In Atlanta, after you're arrested." The word seemed to hit Bradley like a physical blow. Arrested. He'd probably never been arrested in his life, had probably never even gotten a speeding ticket that his expensive lawyers couldn't make disappear. But there was no making this disappear. Not with 47 witnesses, not with multiple videos, not with assault on a federal agent. Sarah had her phone out recording everything. "For the report," she said quietly to Jasmine, "and for your protection." "Thank you," Jasmine said. The flight continued, the tension in the cabin thick enough to cut. The doctor stayed with Jasmine, monitoring her blood pressure every few minutes, listening to the baby's heartbeat, making sure nothing changed. Bradley stood in the aisle, David behind him, looking like a man watching his entire life crumble in real time. The minister across the aisle caught Jasmine's eye and mouthed, "Are you okay?" She nodded, though okay was relative. Her baby was alive. That was all that mattered right now. But as the plane began its descent into Atlanta, Jasmine's FBI training kicked back in. She replayed Bradley's phone conversations in her head: the shipment, the Tuesday deadline, Detective Cooper, the secondary warehouse, Hutch Pharma was dirty. She'd stake her career on it. And Bradley Hutchins had just handed her probable cause on a silver platter. The plane touched down in Atlanta, the landing rougher than usual, as the pilot rushed to get them on the ground. The moment the wheels hit the tarmac, Jasmine saw them through the window: police cars, and ambulance FBI vehicles. They'd called ahead. The entire circus was waiting. "Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated," the pilot announced. "Medical personnel and law enforcement will be boarding first." The plane stopped at the gate. The door opened. Paramedics entered first, heading straight for Jasmine. Behind them came the FBI. Special Agent Marcus Thompson led the team, and Jasmine's heart sank when she saw him. Marcus Thompson, the agent who'd been investigating Hutch Pharma before mysteriously resigning. Except he hadn't resigned. She could see it in his face, in the way he moved with the other agents, in the badge still clipped to his belt. He'd gone undercover, or into hiding, or both. Their eyes met across the cabin. Marcus nodded once. "A message? We need to talk." Behind him, 2 more agents approached Bradley Hutchins. "Bradley Hutchins," one of them said, pulling out handcuffs. "You're under arrest for assault on a federal officer and assault of a pregnant woman. You have the right to remain silent." The Miranda rights continued as they cuffed him. Bradley wasn't fighting anymore. He looked dazed, shocked, like a man who'd been sleepwalking through life and suddenly woken up to find himself in a nightmare. The paramedics were helping Jasmine onto a stretcher, now careful with her pregnant belly. "I can walk," she protested. "Hospital policy," one of them said gently. "Head trauma, assault victim pregnant. You're getting the full treatment." As they wheeled her toward the exit, she passed Bradley Hutchins being led off the plane in handcuffs. He looked at her, and for just a moment something flickered in his eyes. Not remorse exactly, but recognition of what he'd done, what he'd lost. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. Jasmine didn't respond. Sorry wasn't enough. Sorry wouldn't undo the kick, wouldn't erase the 30 seconds when she thought her baby might be dying, wouldn't fix whatever criminal enterprise he'd been running. Sorry was just a word. The Atlanta afternoon hit her like a wall as they emerged from the jet bridge, hot and humid even in October. The paramedics loaded her into the ambulance. Sarah appeared at the door before they closed it. "I'm coming with you," she said. "I need to give a statement anyway, and I want to make sure you're okay." Jasmine managed a small smile. "Thank you for everything in there." "Just doing my job." Sarah climbed into the ambulance. Though I have to say, in 3 years of flying, that was a first. The ambulance pulled away, sirens blaring. Through the window, Jasmine could see Bradley being loaded into a police car. His expensive suit rumpled his face, blank with shock. Her phone was buzzing. Marcus calling. Her husband Marcus, not Agent Thompson. She answered. "Hey, baby." "Jazz? Oh my God, Jazz, are you okay? The FBI called me. They said there was an incident on your flight and you're being taken to the hospital and the baby." "We're okay," Jasmine said quickly. "Both of us. I'm okay. The baby's okay. But yeah, there was an incident." "What happened?" How did she even begin to explain? "A drunk businessman kicked me," she said simply. "He what?" "Kicked me. In the stomach, while I was 7 months pregnant." The silence on the other end of the line was deafening. She could practically hear Marcus trying to process that information, trying to control his anger. "Where is he now?" Marcus asked, his voice deadly calm. "In handcuffs, being arrested, multiple charges." "Good, because if he wasn't, I'd be on my way to Atlanta right now." "I know you would, but it's handled. The FBI's involved. It's being taken care of. And you're sure the baby's okay?" "I heard her heartbeat. She's kicking, but they're taking me to the hospital to make sure. I'm getting on the next flight to Atlanta." "Marcus, don't argue with me on this, Jasmine. My wife and daughter were assaulted. I'm coming." She didn't argue. Truth was, she wanted him there, wanted his solid presence, his steady hands, his ability to make her feel safe when the world felt dangerous. "Okay," she said. "Come." "I love you. I love you too." She hung up as the ambulance pulled into Grady Memorial Hospital. More chaos, more questions, doctors and nurses and forms to fill out. But before any of that, Agent Marcus Thompson appeared at her side. "We need to talk," he said quietly. "About Bradley Hutchins, about Hutch Pharma, about everything." Jasmine looked up at him. "You didn't resign, did you?" "No, I went into protective witness status after I got too close to something big. Something that goes way beyond counterfeit medications." "How big?" Marcus glanced around, making sure no one was listening. "Big enough that when Bradley Hutchins kicked a pregnant FBI agent on a plane full of witnesses, it might have just saved my life. Because now we can move on him, search his company, his home, his communications, and we'll find everything we need." Jasmine felt a cold chill run down her spine. "What exactly have you been investigating?" "A trafficking network," Marcus said. "Not just drugs, everything. Counterfeit pharmaceuticals, yes, but also organs, people, children." The word children hit Jasmine like a fist. "Children," she repeated. "Hutch Pharma's been using its legitimate medical supply routes to move products that have nothing to do with healthcare. And Bradley Hutchins isn't just logistics. He's one of the main coordinators. We've been watching him for months, but we couldn't move without concrete evidence that wouldn't tip off the rest of the network. And now we have probable cause for everything. His assault on you gives us the legal standing to execute search warrants immediately, tonight, before anyone in the network can destroy evidence." Jasmine's mind was racing. The phone calls, on the plane, he mentioned a shipment, a Detective Cooper, a secondary warehouse. Marcus's eyes lit up. "You heard all that?" "Hard not to," He wasn't exactly discreet. Did he say when, whereupon? Tuesday. He said the shipment goes out Tuesday, and he mentioned someone named Cooper keeping quiet. Ray Cooper, Miami PD. We've suspected he's dirty for months. Marcus pulled out his phone, typing rapidly. This is huge, Jasmine. This could break the whole case wide open. A doctor appeared, an older woman with kind eyes and efficient movements. Ms. Reed, I'm Dr. Patricia Morgan. I'll be examining you and the baby. If you're done with Agent Thompson. I'm done, Marcus said. For now, Jasmine, I'll be back with more questions, but you focus on taking care of yourself and that baby. We'll handle the rest. He left already on his phone, coordinating with other agents. Dr. Morgan helped Jasmine onto an examination table. Sarah had stayed sitting quietly in the corner, ready to give her statement when needed. The examination was thorough. Ultrasound, blood pressure checking for internal injuries. With every minute that passed, Jasmine felt herself relaxing slightly. The baby was moving normally. Her heartbeat was strong. There were no signs of placental abruption or other complications. You're very lucky, Dr. Morgan said finally. The force of the kick could have caused serious damage, but it appears your body absorbed most of the impact. Your baby is well protected in there. So we're okay. For now, yes. But I want to keep you overnight for observation. Monitor both of you, make sure nothing changes. And you'll need to take it easy for the next few weeks. No stress, plenty of rest. No stress. Right. Because investigating a human trafficking network was going to be stress-free. But Jasmine just nodded. I'll do whatever you recommend. Good. Now there are several police officers and FBI agents outside who want to speak with you. Are you up for that? Yes. What followed was 2 hours of statements, questions, and documentation. Sarah gave her account first, describing everything she'd witnessed. Then, other passengers who'd been on the flight gave their statements, all corroborating the same story. Bradley Hutchins had verbally harassed Jasmine, then physically assaulted her without provocation. The video evidence was even more damning. 7 different passengers had recorded parts of the incident. The actual kick was captured from 3 different angles, crystal clear, undeniable. Bradley Hutchins's lawyers were going to have a very hard time with this one. By the time Marcus arrived from Miami that evening, Jasmine was settled into a private hospital room, monitors attached to her belly, tracking the baby's heartbeat, the rhythmic beeping a constant reassurance. He burst through the door like a man who'd been running for miles, his face pale with worry, until he saw her sitting up in bed, looking tired, but okay. Jazz, he breathed, crossing to her in 3 long strides and pulling her into a careful embrace. God, when they called me. I'm okay, she whispered into his shoulder. We're both okay. He held her for a long moment, and she felt him shaking slightly. Her husband, the tough ex-Marine who never showed fear, was shaking. I thought I was going to lose you, he said quietly. Both of you. You didn't. You won't. We're tough. She's tough. Jasmine placed his hand on her belly, and as if on cue, the baby kicked. Hard. Marcus laughed, the sound half-sob. There's my fighter. She's definitely your daughter, already throwing punches. They sat together in silence for a while, just holding each other, feeling the baby move between them. Finally, Marcus pulled back. Tell me everything. So she did. The whole story, from the moment Bradley Hutchins sat down beside her to the moment the FBI led him away in handcuffs. Marcus listened without interrupting, his jaw getting tighter with every detail. When she finished, he was quiet for a moment. He kicked you, Marcus said finally. He looked at my pregnant wife and kicked her. Yes, because he thought you were investigating him. He was paranoid, guilty, saw threats everywhere. Was he right? Were you investigating him? No, I didn't even know who he was before today, but I am now. Marcus frowned. What do you mean? Agent Thompson wants me to consult on the case. Given what I heard on the plane, the statements I can provide, I'm a key witness. But more than that, Bradley Hutchins assaulted me personally. This case is mine now, Marcus. Mine to finish. You're 7 months pregnant. I'm aware. And you just survived an assault that could have killed our baby. I'm also aware of that. Jazz, don't. She held up a hand. Don't tell me to back off. Don't tell me to rest and let someone else handle it. Hutch Pharma is trafficking children, Marcus. Children. And I heard Bradley Hutchins coordinate a shipment that's happening Tuesday. If I don't help with this investigation, that shipment goes out and kids get hurt. Marcus's expression softened. I know you have to do this. I just wish. I know. Me too. He kissed her forehead. Okay. But promise me you'll be careful. No field work. No confrontations. Just consult from here, from home, from anywhere that's safe. I promise. It was a promise she meant to keep. But promises, like plans, had a way of changing when children's lives were on the line. The hospital room felt smaller at 3 a.m. Marcus had fallen asleep in the chair beside Jasmine's bed, his hand still holding hers, but Jasmine couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she felt Bradley Hutchins's shoe connecting with her stomach, heard the sickening thud, felt that moment of terror when the baby stopped moving. Her phone buzzed, a text from Agent Marcus Thompson. Still awake, need to talk. Can I come up? Jasmine glanced at her sleeping husband, then typed back, room 412, quietly. 5 minutes later, Thompson slipped through the door like a ghost carrying a laptop bag and 2 cups of coffee. Decaf, he said, handing her one. Doctor's orders, I'm sure. You're a lifesaver. Jasmine took a grateful sip. What's so urgent it can't wait until morning? Thompson pulled up a chair, keeping his voice low. We executed search warrants on Hutch Pharma 2 hours ago. 7 locations simultaneously. Corporate headquarters, 3 warehouses, Bradley Hutchins's home, and 2 properties registered to shell companies we've connected to him. And we hit the jackpot. Financial records going back 5 years, communications with distributors across 12 states. And Jasmine, you were right about the children. We found documentation of payments to adoption agencies that don't exist, medical records for procedures that were never performed, birth certificates that lead nowhere. Jasmine felt sick. How many? We're still counting. But preliminary numbers suggest at least 40 kids moved through this network in the past 18 months alone. 40 children. 40 lives destroyed, sold, trafficked like products. Where's Bradley now? She asked. Fulton County Jail. His lawyers got him arraigned an hour ago. Judge set bail at $5 million. He'll post it. Probably. But the assault charges are just the beginning. Once we finish processing everything we found tonight, he's looking at federal trafficking charges, conspiracy racketeering. He'll die in prison. Jasmine took another sip of coffee, her mind already working through the angles. The shipment he mentioned on the plane, Tuesday, did you find anything about that? Thompson's expression darkened. That's why I'm here. We found references to a Tuesday shipment in multiple documents, but nothing specific. No location, no manifest, no details, just coded references, shipment alpha, distribution network 7, that kind of thing. What about Detective Cooper? Ray Cooper's house is being searched as we speak, but he's not there. Neither is his service weapon or his badge. We think someone tipped him off. Someone in your department. Thompson's jaw tightened. That's what I'm afraid of. This network is bigger than we thought, Jasmine. It's not just Hutch Pharma and a dirty cop. We're talking about multiple law enforcement officials, judges, social workers, adoption agencies, a whole infrastructure built to move these kids. Marcus stirred in his chair, his eyes opening slowly. He took in Thompson's presence, the serious expressions, and sat up straighter. What did I miss? He asked. Thompson filled him in quickly. Marcus's face went from sleepy to hard in seconds. So, what's the plan? Marcus asked. We need to figure out what's happening Tuesday, Thompson said. That's 48 hours from now. If this shipment is what I think it is, kids are going to be moved, sold, disappeared. We have to stop it. Do you have any leads at all? Jasmine asked. Bradley's lawyer is playing hardball. Won't let us question him without full immunity, which we're not offering. His business partner, a guy named Gerald Moss, is cooperating, but he claims he doesn't know anything about the illegal side of the operation. Says Bradley kept him in the dark. You believe him? No, but we can't prove otherwise yet. Jasmine's phone buzzed again. This time it was a number she didn't recognize. She answered cautiously. Agent Reed. The voice was female, young, terrified. This is she. Who is this? My name is Nicole. Nicole Chen. I'm Sarah Chen's sister, the flight attendant from your plane. She gave me your number. She said you might be able to help me. Jasmine sat up straighter, ignoring the twinge in her abdomen. Help you with what, Nicole? I think I know what's happening Tuesday. I think I know where the shipment is going. Thompson and Marcus were both leaning forward now, listening intently. Where are you right now? Jasmine asked. I'm at my apartment in Miami, but I'm scared. I think someone's watching me. I think they know I called you. Nicole listened to me very carefully. Do you have somewhere safe you can go, family, friends? My sister's in Atlanta. She's still there because of the flight incident, but I don't want to put her in danger. Okay, stay where you are. Lock your doors. I'm going to send someone to pick you up and bring you somewhere safe. Can you do that? Yes, but Agent Reed, you need to know something. The Tuesday shipment, it's not drugs. It's not even counterfeit medications. It's children, 12 of them, and they're being moved to a facility in Homestead tomorrow night. Jasmine's blood ran cold. How do you know this? Because I was almost one of them. 5 years ago, before my family adopted me, I was in the system. In one of the group homes that feeds into this network. I got lucky. My sister's family took me in. But I kept in touch with some of the other kids. And one of them, Maria, she called me yesterday. She said they're moving her and 11 others. She said she's scared. She said they told her she's going to a better place, but she doesn't believe them. Nicole, I need you to text me Maria's information. Full name, age, any details you have, and the name of the group home. Sunshine Haven. It's in Liberty City. It's supposed to be one of the good ones, but Agent Reed, it's not. They're selecting kids, the ones nobody's looking for, the ones without families, and they're selling them. Thompson was already on his phone, typing rapidly, pulling up information. Nicole, help is coming to you right now, Jasmine said. An FBI agent will be at your door in less than 20 minutes. His name is Agent Rodriguez. He'll get you somewhere safe, and then we're going to stop this shipment. We're going to save Maria and those other kids. I promise you. Thank you, Nicole whispered. Thank you so much. The call ended. Jasmine looked at Thompson. Tell me you got all that. Every word. I'm pulling files on Sunshine Haven now. His fingers flew across his keyboard. Jesus, this place has been operating for 15 years, state licensed, regular inspections, clean record. If they're part of this network, they've been hiding it perfectly. Who runs it? Marcus asked. Thompson scrolled through documents. Director is a woman named Patricia Walton. On paper, she looks like a saint. Former social worker, 20 years in child services, multiple awards for her work with at-risk youth. On paper, Jasmine repeated. What about in reality? That's what we need to find out. But if Nicole's right, we have less than 36 hours to figure it out and stop this shipment. Dr. Morgan appeared in the doorway, her expression stern. Agent Reed, it's 3:30 in the morning. You need rest. Your blood pressure is elevated, and that's not good for you or the baby. I know, doctor, but this is urgent. Children are in danger. And you're in danger too if you don't take care of yourself. The FBI has thousands of agents. They can handle this without you. With respect, they can't. I'm the one who heard Bradley Hutchins on the phone. I'm the one who has first-hand knowledge of his panic, his patterns. And now I'm the one who just got a call from someone who knows what's happening Tuesday. Dr. Morgan crossed her arms. You're also the one who was violently assaulted less than 12 hours ago. Which is exactly why I need to see this through. The two women stared at each other, neither backing down. Finally, Marcus spoke up. What if we compromise Jasmine consults from here from the hospital? No field work, no stress, just providing information and guidance to Agent Thompson's team. Would that be acceptable? Dr. Morgan considered this. Consulting only. You stay in that bed, you keep those monitors on, and if your blood pressure goes up even one more point, I'm sedating you. Understood. Understood. Jasmine agreed. Thompson was already setting up his laptop on the rolling table beside Jasmine's bed. Okay, let's work through what we know.
Bradley Hutchins runs Hutch Pharma, a pharmaceutical distribution company with legitimate contracts across the Southeast, but he's been using that infrastructure to move illegal products. Not just products, Jasmine corrected. People. Children specifically. Right. Now the adoption agency angle is interesting. We found payments to 3 different agencies in the documents we seized. All 3 agencies are licensed but small operations. One-person shows mostly. They process maybe 10 adoptions a year each. Perfect cover, Marcus said. Small enough to fly under the radar but legitimate enough to have access to kids in the system. Exactly. And the group homes are the feeder system. Places like Sunshine Haven identify vulnerable kids with no family connections, no one asking questions. Then the adoption agencies facilitate the paperwork, except the adoptions aren't real. The kids disappear into the network. Jasmine felt her baby kick as if responding to her rising anger. What happens to them after that? Thompson's face was grim. We don't know yet. Some probably end up in domestic servitude, others in agricultural work, some in worse situations. We're still piecing it together. And Bradley Hutchins coordinates the logistics, Jasmine said, uses his pharmaceutical delivery routes to transport them. FDA-approved containers, legitimate manifests, no one looks twice. That's the theory. And Detective Ray Cooper provides protection on the Miami end. Makes sure local law enforcement doesn't investigate too closely. Probably does the same with any social workers or case managers who start asking questions. Marcus stood up, pacing the small room. So we have less than 2 days to find 12 kids, shut down this shipment, and dismantle a trafficking network that's been operating for years. Where do we even start? We start with Patricia Walton, Jasmine said, the director of Sunshine Haven. If she's selecting kids for this network, she's keeping records. She has to be. Names, ages, placement history. We need to get inside that facility. We can't just raid it, Thompson said. Not without concrete evidence. And if we tip our hand too early, the whole network shuts down, and we lose any chance of following the trail to the top. Then we go in quietly, undercover. As what social workers, they'll verify our credentials immediately. Jasmine thought for a moment. What about as prospective adoptive parents, a couple looking to adopt from the foster system? Thompson and Marcus exchanged glances. That could work, Thompson said slowly, but it would have to be fast. We don't have time for a lengthy vetting process. What if the couple is wealthy, willing to make generous donations to the facility, willing to expedite the process? You're talking about a sting operation, Marcus said. I'm talking about saving 12 kids before they disappear forever. Thompson was already typing. I'd need approval from my SAC, and we'd need the right agents for it. A married couple believable as wealthy adoptive parents, capable of handling themselves if things go sideways. I'll do it, Marcus said immediately. You're not an agent, Thompson pointed out. No, but I'm former military intelligence. I know how to operate undercover, and I'm already emotionally invested in this case. What about me? Jasmine asked. 3 voices responded simultaneously. No from Marcus, absolutely not from Thompson, not a chance from Dr. Morgan, who'd been listening from the doorway. I'm pregnant, not incompetent, Jasmine argued. You're 7 months pregnant and recovering from an assault, Marcus said firmly. You're not going undercover into a facility that might be run by traffickers. He's right, Thompson added. It's too risky. We need you here coordinating, providing intel, but not in the field. Jasmine wanted to argue more, but the baby kicked again harder this time, a reminder of what she was protecting. Fine, she conceded, but I'm involved in every decision, every step of the planning. Agreed, Thompson said. Now let's talk about who we pair with Marcus. The planning session lasted until dawn. By the time the sun rose over Atlanta, they had a framework for the operation. Marcus would pose as a wealthy businessman looking to adopt. His partner would be Agent Lisa Chen, a veteran FBI agent who'd worked undercover in human trafficking cases before. Their cover story was simple. Marcus and Lisa were a married couple who'd tried for years to have biological children without success. Now they were looking to adopt from the foster system, specifically older children who were harder to place. They were willing to make substantial donations to facilitate the process. It was exactly the kind of story Patricia Walton would want to hear if she was as corrupt as they suspected.
"We go in tomorrow morning," Thompson said. "That gives us 1 day to gather intelligence before the Tuesday shipment. If we can identify which kids are being moved and where they're going, we can intercept." "What about Bradley Hutchins?" Jasmine asked. "He made bail 2 hours ago." Thompson's phone buzzed. He checked it and swore under his breath. "What?" Marcus asked. "Bradley's lawyer just filed a motion to suppress all evidence from the searches, claiming they were based on an unlawful arrest. They're arguing that Jasmine provoked the assault and that Bradley acted in self-defense." Jasmine's blood pressure monitor beeped a warning. Dr. Morgan stepped forward immediately. "That's enough for now," the doctor said firmly. "Agent Reed needs rest. You two can continue planning elsewhere." 5 more minutes, Jasmine pleaded. 2, Dr. Morgan countered. "And then I'm pulling the plug on this entire meeting." Thompson spoke quickly. "The motion won't succeed. We have video evidence, witness testimony, everything. But it will delay things, maybe long enough for Tuesday's shipment to happen without interference." "So we can't rely on the evidence from the searches," Marcus said. "We need fresh evidence gathered through the undercover operation." "Exactly. Which means when we go into Sunshine Haven tomorrow, we need to be perfect. 1 mistake and kids die." The weight of that statement hung in the air. "I'll be perfect," Marcus promised. Thompson gathered his laptop. "Get some rest, both of you. I'll have Agent Chen here at 8 a.m. to brief you on the cover story. Marcus, you'll need to study it backwards and forwards. Lisa's been undercover before, but this is your first time. You can't slip up even once." After Thompson left, Marcus pulled his chair closer to Jasmine's bed. "You hate this," he said. "Not a question. I hate that you're going in there without me. I hate that I'm stuck here while kids are in danger. I hate feeling helpless." "You're not helpless. You're the one who figured this out. You're the one who connected the dots from a random conversation on a plane to a trafficking network. None of this happens without you." "It happened because a racist drunk assaulted me." "No, it happened because you survived, because you fought back, because you refused to be silenced." Jasmine felt tears threatening. Damn pregnancy hormones. "I'm scared," she admitted. "Not for me, for you, for those kids, for our baby." Marcus placed his hand on her stomach. "Our baby is safe. You're safe. And I'm going to make sure those 12 kids at Sunshine Haven are safe too. I promise." "Don't make promises you can't keep." "Then I'll keep it." Dr. Morgan returned this time with a nurse. "Time's up. Agent Reed needs sleep. Mr. Reed, there's a hotel across the street where you can get a proper rest." "I'm staying here," Marcus said. "The chair is uncomfortable." "I don't care." Dr. Morgan smiled slightly. "Stubborn runs in the family, I see. Fine, but quiet. No more FBI meetings until morning." She dimmed the lights and left. The nurse checked Jasmine's vitals one more time, adjusted her IV, and followed the doctor out. In the darkness, Jasmine listened to her baby's heartbeat on the monitor. Steady, strong, alive. Because she'd been lucky. Because the kick could have killed her daughter, but didn't. Because sometimes survival was just chance. But those 12 kids at Sunshine Haven didn't have chance. They had a network of predators deciding their fate, unless she and Marcus and Thompson could stop it. Jasmine's phone buzzed one more time. A text from an unknown number. "Thank you for helping my sister. This is Sarah Chen. I owe you everything." Jasmine typed back, "You don't owe me anything, but I need a favor. Everything you remember about Bradley Hutchins on that flight, every word, every gesture, every phone call. Write it all down and send it to Agent Thompson. It might help save lives." The response came quickly. "Already done. Sent him a 15-page statement an hour ago. Whatever you need, whenever you need it, I'm here." Jasmine smiled in the darkness. Sometimes allies appeared in unexpected places. She was finally drifting off to sleep when her phone rang again. This time it was a call, not a text. Nicole Chen. "Agent Reed, I'm at the safe house with Agent Rodriguez. But I remembered something important." Jasmine put the phone on speaker so Marcus could hear. "What is it, Nicole?" "When Maria called me yesterday, she said something weird. She said they told her she was going to a farm, a place where she could learn skills and have a better life. But Agent Reed, there is no farm. I know because I was told the same thing 5 years ago before my adoption fell through. It's code for something else. Code for what? I don't know, but I remember one of the older kids before he disappeared. He said the farm was where kids went when they were too old or too difficult for regular placement. He said once you went to the farm, you never came back. Marcus and Jasmine locked eyes in the dim hospital room. Nicole, when the older kid disappeared, did anyone report him missing? Jasmine asked. No. The group home said he'd been adopted. They had paperwork and everything. But his friends knew he hadn't been adopted. They knew something else had happened to him. What was his name? David Martinez. He was 15. He'd been in the system since he was 8. No family, no connections. The perfect target. Jasmine was typing notes into her phone with one hand. Do you know what year this was? 3 years ago, maybe 4. I was only 13, so the details are fuzzy, but I remember David. He was nice to me, protected me from some of the older bullies, and then one day he was just gone. Thank you, Nicole. This is incredibly helpful. Get some rest. You're safe now. After hanging up, Jasmine immediately texted Thompson. We need to find David Martinez. 15 years old, disappeared from Sunshine Haven 3 or 4 years ago. Told other kids he was going to the farm. Might be connected to Tuesday's shipment destination. Thompson's response was immediate. On it. Running database searches now. Sleep. Doctor's orders. But sleep wasn't coming. Jasmine's mind was racing through possibilities. A farm. A place where older kids went. Where they learned skills. Or where they were put to work. Agricultural trafficking was common in South Florida. Migrant camps, citrus groves, processing plants. Places where undocumented workers disappeared into the system, worked for nothing, lived in squalor. Was that what was happening to these kids? You're thinking too loud, Marcus murmured from his chair. Sorry. Don't be. I'm thinking the same things. This is bigger than we thought. Isn't it? Yeah, much bigger. Jasmine shifted in the hospital bed, trying to find a comfortable position. Impossible with monitors and IV lines and a 7-month pregnant belly. Marcus, when you go into Sunshine Haven tomorrow, you need to look for something specific. What? Records. They have to keep records of where kids go after they leave. Adoption paperwork, transfer documents, something. If Patricia Walton is running this operation, she's documenting it. She has to be. For her own protection, if nothing else. You think she's keeping evidence of her own crimes? I think she's keeping leverage. If this network is as big as Thompson says, if it involves cops and judges and social workers, then everyone involved has dirt on everyone else. Mutually assured destruction. Patricia Walton's records are her insurance policy. Marcus nodded slowly. So we don't just gather evidence of the Tuesday shipment. We get access to her full records. Everything. Exactly. That's going to require more than a simple undercover visit. I know. We might need a warrant, which we can't get without probable cause, which we don't have until we get inside and confirm what's happening. Classic catch-22. Jasmine smiled despite the situation. Welcome to federal law enforcement. Her phone buzzed again. This time it was Thompson with an update. Found David Martinez in the system, reported as adopted 4 years ago by a couple in Georgia. But here's the interesting part. I called the couple. They have no idea who David Martinez is. The adoption paperwork is fraudulent. Their names and signatures were forged. Jasmine's hands tightened on her phone. So David wasn't adopted? No. He disappeared into the network. And if the same thing happened to him that's about to happen to Maria and the other 11 kids, then we're not just stopping a shipment. We're uncovering 4 years of trafficking. How many kids total? I'm running the numbers now, but preliminary estimate, based on paperwork we found at Hutch Pharma, maybe 200 kids over 4 years. 200 children, 200 lives stolen, erased, disappeared. Jasmine felt the baby kick again, and she placed both hands on her stomach protectively. No child deserved what was happening to these kids. No parent deserved to lose their child to a network of predators.
Thompson, listen to me, she said. When Marcus goes into Sunshine Haven tomorrow, I need real-time communication. I need to be able to guide him remotely. Can you set that up? You want to run the operation from your hospital bed. I want to make sure my husband comes home alive, and that those 12 kids come home alive. So yes, I'm running the operation. There was a pause on the other end. Then, I'll set it up, but if your blood pressure spikes, Dr. Morgan pulls the plug. Deal. Deal. After ending the call, Jasmine finally allowed herself to close her eyes. Tomorrow was going to be the longest day of her life. Marcus was going undercover into a facility run by traffickers. 12 kids were waiting for rescue. A network of predators was about to be exposed, and she was going to coordinate it all from a hospital bed while 7 months pregnant. No pressure, she muttered to herself. Marcus reached over and squeezed her hand. We've got this. You sound confident. I am confident. You know why. Why? Because Bradley Hutchins made one critical mistake. He kicked a pregnant FBI agent on a plane full of witnesses. And that one moment of rage is going to bring down his entire operation, all because he couldn't control his temper. Jasmine thought about that, about how one choice, one action, one moment of violence could ripple outward into consequences the perpetrator never imagined. Bradley Hutchins had thought he was silencing a threat. Instead, he'd ignited an investigation that would destroy everything he'd built. Karma, Jasmine said softly. Justice, Marcus corrected. Both were true. As dawn broke over Atlanta, Jasmine finally fell asleep, her hand resting on her pregnant belly, her husband holding her other hand, and her mind already planning every detail of the operation that would unfold in less than 12 hours. Somewhere in Miami, 12 children were sleeping in a group home, unaware that they were scheduled to disappear tomorrow night. Unaware that a pregnant FBI agent they'd never met was fighting to save them. Unaware that their lives hung in the balance of an undercover operation that had to go perfectly. No mistakes, no slip-ups, no second chances. Just Marcus walking into a building full of traffickers and walking back out with evidence that would save lives. Simple, terrifying, necessary. The baby kicked one more time, and Jasmine smiled despite her fear. Her daughter was a fighter, just like her mother, just like her father. And together they were going to stop this shipment and tear down a network that had operated in the shadows for far too long. Bradley Hutchins had kicked the wrong woman. Now he was going to find out exactly what that mistake would cost him. Everything. Agent Lisa Chen arrived at the hospital at 7:45 the next morning, 15 minutes early, carrying 2 garment bags and a briefcase. She was 38, slim, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. Jasmine liked her immediately. Mr. Reed, I presume, Lisa said, extending her hand to Marcus. I'll be playing your wife for the next 24 hours. Try not to make me regret it. Marcus shook her hand, grinning. I'll do my best. Your best better be perfect. I've been undercover in trafficking operations before. These people are paranoid, intelligent, and absolutely ruthless. One wrong word, one inconsistent detail, and we're both dead. The smile disappeared from Marcus's face. Understood. Lisa turned to Jasmine. Agent Reed, I've read your file. Impressive career. How are you feeling? Frustrated that I can't be out there with you. Good. Channel that frustration into making sure we don't miss anything from Command Center. I'm trusting you to be my eyes and ears on the outside. She unzipped one of the garment bags, revealing an expensive suit. Marcus, you're now Michael Brennan, venture capitalist. You made your money in tech startups, sold your company 3 years ago for $80 million. You've been married to me, Elizabeth Brennan, for 6 years. We've tried fertility treatments, IVF surrogacy. Nothing worked. We're ready to adopt. Marcus took the suit, examining the quality. This is actual Armani. Has to be. Patricia Walton will notice if it's fake. She's been doing this long enough to spot a fraud from across the room. Everything about us has to be authentic except our names. What's our backstory? Marcus asked. We met at a charity gala in Boston. I was working in pharmaceutical consulting. You were already rich from your tech exit. Love at first sight, married within a year, spent the next 5 years trying to have kids. We're desperate, but we're also selective.
We want a child who needs us, someone older, someone the system has given up on. Someone like the kids they're trying to move on Tuesday, Jasmine said quietly. Exactly. We're their perfect customers. Wealthy, motivated, and willing to look the other way if the paperwork isn't quite perfect. Thompson arrived with 2 other agents carrying computer equipment. We're setting up the command center here. Jasmine, you'll have full audio and video from both Marcus and Lisa. They'll be wearing concealed cameras and microphones. You'll see and hear everything they do. What about backup? Marcus asked. If things go wrong. We'll have a team positioned 3 blocks away, but if we have to come in, the operation is blown and those kids are as good as dead. The network will shut down, destroy evidence, and disappear. We get 1 shot at this. Dr. Morgan appeared in the doorway, taking in the sudden crowd in Jasmine's room. What's going on here? FBI Operation Doctor, Thompson said. Agent Reed is consulting. From her hospital bed, while 7 months pregnant, after being assaulted yesterday. Dr. Morgan's tone could have frozen water. I'm fine, Jasmine insisted. Your blood pressure says otherwise. It's up to 145/95. Any higher and I'm sedating you. You can't sedate me. 12 children's lives depend on this operation. 13 lives, Dr. Morgan corrected, placing her hand on Jasmine's stomach. Don't forget about this one. She matters too. The words hit Jasmine hard. She'd been so focused on saving those 12 kids that she'd almost forgotten about her own daughter, about the promise she'd made to Marcus to be careful. 2 hours, she said finally. Give me 2 hours to get them inside, gather initial intelligence. Then I'll rest. I promise. Dr. Morgan looked skeptical but nodded. 2 hours, not a minute more, and I'm monitoring your vitals the entire time. First sign of distress, I'm pulling you out. After the doctor left, Lisa helped Marcus into his new identity. Expensive watch designer shoes, even a custom wedding ring that matched hers. We're going in at 9:30, she explained. Sunshine Haven opens at 9. We want to arrive after the morning rush when Patricia Walton has time to focus on us. We called yesterday, made an appointment, said we were in town briefly and wanted to explore adoption options. And she agreed to meet us that fast? Marcus asked. Rich people don't wait. She knows that. Plus, I mentioned we were prepared to make a substantial donation to the facility, $500,000 to support their mission. Jasmine whistled. That's a lot of money. It's nothing compared to what these kids are worth on the black market. A healthy child can sell for $50,000 to $100,000. Older kids who can work are worth even more in certain markets. 12 kids at $75,000 each. That's $900,000. Patricia Walton isn't going to pass up half that amount just for a meeting. The casual way Lisa discussed children's market value made Jasmine feel sick. But this was the reality they were fighting. Kids reduced to commodities, lives measured in dollars. Here's what we're looking for, Thompson said, pulling up photos on his laptop. Financial records, transfer documents, communication logs, anything that connects Sunshine Haven to Hutch Pharma or Detective Cooper. And most importantly, we need to identify which 12 kids are being moved Tuesday. How are we supposed to get access to that information in one visit? Marcus asked. You don't. You establish trust plant seeds, schedule a follow-up. Then tonight we execute a search warrant based on what you find. What about the Tuesday shipment? Jasmine asked. If we raid the facility today, the network knows we're coming. They'll cancel the shipment. Not if we're smart about it, Thompson said. We let the shipment happen. We track it. See where it goes, who's involved. Then we take down the whole network at once. You want to use those kids as bait, Marcus said, his voice hard. I want to save those kids and every other kid this network has touched. The only way to do that is to map the entire operation. Follow the money, follow the shipments, identify every person involved. If we grab the kids too early, the rest of the network disappears. And if something goes wrong, if those kids get hurt while we're tracking them, then we have 12 casualties instead of 200. That's the math, Marcus. That's the reality of this work. Jasmine saw her husband's jaw clench. He was military, used to making hard choices. But this was different. These were children. American children.
Kids who should have been protected by the system that was instead selling them. "There has to be another way," Jasmine said. "If you think of one, I'm listening," Thompson replied. "But right now, this is the best plan we have. Marcus and Lisa go in, gather intelligence, get out clean. Tonight we decide our next move based on what they find." Lisa checked her watch. "We need to leave in 20 minutes. Marcus, let's review the cover story one more time. Where did we meet?" "Boston, Charity Gala, 7 years ago." "6 years ago. You're already off script." Marcus swore under his breath. "6 years ago. Sorry." "Don't be sorry, be perfect." "What was the name of the charity?" "Children's Hospital Foundation." "What did I do for work?" "Pharmaceutical consulting." "What company?" Marcus hesitated. "You didn't tell me that?" "MedTech Solutions. I was their director of regulatory compliance. It's in your briefing packet. Did you read it?" "I read it. I just didn't memorize every detail." "Every detail matters. Patricia Walton will ask questions, random questions, testing us. If we can't answer immediately and consistently, she'll know something's wrong." The next 15 minutes were brutal. Lisa grilled Marcus on their fake history, their fake marriage, their fake attempts at having children. Every time he hesitated or got a detail wrong, she corrected him sharply. Jasmine watched her husband struggle with the cover story and felt a spike of fear. Marcus was smart, capable, a quick study, but he wasn't a trained undercover agent. He'd done military intelligence work, sure, but that was different. This required acting improvisation, maintaining a consistent lie for hours at a time. "Lisa," Jasmine said quietly, "maybe we should postpone. Give Marcus more time to prepare." "We don't have time. Tuesday is tomorrow. It's now or never." "Then maybe I should go instead. I've done undercover work. I know how to maintain a cover." 3 voices responded immediately. "No," from Marcus. "Absolutely not," from Lisa. "Have you lost your mind?" from Thompson. "I'm the better choice," Jasmine argued. "I have more experience. I can handle the questions." "You're 7 months pregnant," Marcus said. "You were assaulted yesterday. Your blood pressure is dangerous." "You're not going anywhere." "He's right," Lisa added. "Besides, Patricia Walton would be suspicious of a pregnant woman looking to adopt. It doesn't make sense. Marcus and I sell as a couple struggling with infertility. You don't." Jasmine wanted to argue more, but she knew they were right. She was being emotional, not rational, letting her need to protect Marcus override her professional judgment. "Fine," she conceded. "But Marcus, please be careful. These people are dangerous." "I know. I'll be careful." Lisa handed him a small device that looked like a pen. "Camera. Keep it in your jacket pocket lens facing out. It'll capture everything in front of you. Your tie clip is the microphone. Don't touch it. Don't adjust it. Don't acknowledge it exists." She gave him an identical device. "And this is your panic button. Click it 3 times fast if you're in immediate danger. The backup team will breach within 90 seconds. 90 seconds is a long time when someone's pointing a gun at you, Marcus observed. Then don't let them get that far. Read the room, trust your instincts, and if something feels wrong, abort the mission. No intelligence is worth your life. Thompson's phone buzzed. He checked it, and his expression darkened. Problem? Jasmine asked. Bradley Hutchins posted bail an hour ago. He's out. What? How you said bail was set at $5 million. His lawyers got it reduced to $2 million on appeal, argued he was a flight risk, and the original amount was excessive. Judge agreed. He posted it immediately and walked. Jasmine felt cold dread wash over her. If Bradley's out, he'll warn the network. He'll tell them we're coming. We have surveillance on him. He can't make a move without us knowing. You had surveillance on Detective Cooper, too. How's that working out? Thompson didn't answer, which was answer enough. Lisa checked her watch again. We need to go, now, before Bradley has time to make calls and blow this whole operation. Marcus leaned over and kissed Jasmine long and deep. I love you, both of you. I'll be back in a few hours. You better be. He squeezed her hand one more time, then followed Lisa out of the hospital room. Thompson and his team finished setting up the monitoring equipment, and suddenly, Jasmine was looking at two video feeds. One from Marcus's perspective, one from Lisa's.
She could see the hospital corridor, the elevator, the parking garage, could hear their footsteps, their breathing, the ambient noise of the building. "Audio check," Thompson said into his headset. "Marcus, tap your tie clip once if you can hear me." On the video feed, Marcus's hand came up and tapped his tie clip. "Good. Lisa, same." Lisa tapped hers. "Perfect. You're both transmitting clear. Jasmine, can you see and hear everything?" "Yes, clear on both feeds." "Okay. Remember, this is reconnaissance only. Get in, gather intelligence, get out. No heroics, no improvisation. Stick to the script." Jasmine watched the video feeds as Marcus and Lisa climbed into an unmarked FBI vehicle. Another agent was driving someone she didn't recognize. "That's Agent Rodriguez," Thompson explained. "He'll drop them 2 blocks from Sunshine Haven, then maintain a perimeter position. If they need extraction, he's the first responder." The drive from the hospital to Liberty City took 40 minutes. Jasmine watched the scenery change from the commercial district around Grady Memorial to the residential neighborhoods of Miami. Sunshine Haven was located in a surprisingly nice area, a 2-story building that looked more like a school than a group home. "Smart location," Thompson observed. "Middle-class neighborhood, lots of families. Nobody would suspect a trafficking operation here." Rodriguez stopped the car 2 blocks away. Marcus and Lisa got out, and for the first time, Jasmine saw them as a couple. The way Lisa took Marcus's arm, the way he shortened his stride to match hers, the small smile they exchanged. They looked real, convincingly real. "You've got this," Jasmine whispered, though they couldn't hear her. They walked up the sidewalk toward Sunshine Haven. The building was cheerful, painted bright yellow with blue trim, a playground in the front yard, basketball hoops, garden beds with flowers. It looked like a place that cared for children, protected them, gave them hope. The irony was sickening. Marcus opened the front door and they stepped inside. The video feed showed a reception area with comfortable chairs, educational posters on the walls, and a young woman behind a desk. "Good morning," the receptionist said, smiling. "You must be Mr. and Mrs. Brennan. Ms. Walton is expecting you." "Thank you," Lisa said warmly. "We appreciate her making time for us on such short notice." "Of course. Please have a seat. She'll be with you in just a moment." Marcus and Lisa sat. Jasmine could hear their breathing through the microphone, slightly elevated. Nervous. But that was normal. Expected even. Prospective adoptive parents would be nervous. A door opened and a woman emerged. Late 50s gray hair, styled professionally, wearing a cardigan and slacks. She looked like everyone's favorite teacher. Warm, approachable, trustworthy. Patricia Walton, the woman who'd been trafficking children for 4 years. "Mr. and Mrs. Brennan, welcome to Sunshine Haven. I'm Patricia Walton, director of the facility. Please come to my office." She led them down a hallway. Jasmine studied every detail visible in the video feeds. Photos on the walls showing smiling children, awards and certifications, a bulletin board with upcoming events, everything designed to project legitimacy, safety, care. Patricia's office was cozy. Bookshelves lined with child psychology texts and parenting guides, a desk covered with paperwork, 2 chairs facing the desk for visitors. "Please sit," Patricia said, settling into her own chair. "Can I get you coffee? Water?" "We're fine, thank you," Lisa said, her voice perfect. Polite, but not too friendly. Professional, but warm. Patricia folded her hands on her desk. "So you're interested in adoption. Tell me about yourselves." Lisa took the lead. "Well, as I mentioned on the phone, we've been married 6 years. We've tried everything to have biological children. IVF, surrogacy, fertility specialists across the country. Nothing has worked." "I'm sorry to hear that. I know how difficult that journey can be." "We've made peace with it," Marcus added. "And honestly, we feel called to adoption now. There are so many children who need homes. Why keep trying to create a new life when we could change an existing life?" It was a good line. Jasmine could see Patricia's expression soften slightly. "That's a beautiful perspective," Patricia said. "Many couples come to that realization. Now, what age range are you considering?" "We're open," Lisa said, "though we're particularly interested in older children, teenagers. We know they're harder to place." Patricia's eyes sharpened. Just for a second, barely noticeable, but Jasmine caught it. Teenagers are challenging, Patricia said carefully. They come with trauma, behavioral issues, attachment problems. Are you prepared for that? We have resources, Marcus said. Therapists on call, educational support, whatever they need. Money isn't an issue. We want to help a child who might not otherwise get a chance. And how did you hear about Sunshine Haven specifically? Lisa's response was smooth. We've been researching facilities across the Southeast. Your reputation for successful placements caught our attention. Plus, your proximity to Miami is convenient for us. I see. And what did you both do for work? I'm a venture capitalist, Marcus said. I sold my tech company 3 years ago. Now I invest in startups. And I was in pharmaceutical consulting until recently, Lisa added. I stepped back to focus on starting our family. Pharmaceutical consulting. That's interesting. Which companies did you work with? Jasmine's heart rate spiked. This was a test. Patricia was probing, looking for connections. MedTech Solutions was my primary client, Lisa said without hesitation. Regulatory compliance, FDA approval processes, that sort of thing. Did you ever work with Hutch Pharma? There it was. The trap. Lisa's response was perfect. Casual, uninterested. The name sounds familiar, but I don't think so. Why do you ask? No reason. They're a local company. I just wondered if your paths had crossed. If they did, it was nothing memorable. The pharmaceutical world is small. Everyone knows everyone. Patricia nodded, apparently satisfied. Well, let me tell you about our program here at Sunshine Haven. We house 42 children, currently ages 5 to 17. Most come from difficult backgrounds: abuse, neglect, abandonment. Our goal is to provide stability education and ultimately permanent placement, either through adoption or aging out of the system. How many children successfully find adoptive homes? Marcus asked. It varies. Younger children place more easily, as I'm sure you know. Older children, particularly teenagers, often struggle. But we've had success. Last year alone, we placed 12 teenagers with families. 12 teenagers, the same number scheduled for the Tuesday shipment. That's impressive, Lisa said. Can you tell us more about your placement process? Of course. First, we do a thorough evaluation of prospective parents, background checks, financial verification, home studies. We want to ensure our children go to safe, stable environments. How long does that typically take? Several months usually, though for the right family with the right circumstances we can expedite. Define expedite, Marcus said. Patricia smiled. Well, Mr. Brennan, when a family demonstrates both the means and the motivation to provide exceptional care, and when a child is particularly difficult to place through traditional channels, we've been known to facilitate faster placements, with proper incentives, of course. Incentives meaning donations to the facility, Lisa asked. Donations help us serve more children, better facilities, more staff, enhanced programming. Everyone benefits. It was carefully worded. Nothing explicitly illegal, but the implication was clear. Pay enough money and the rules became flexible. We mentioned on the phone we're prepared to donate $500,000, Marcus said. Would that qualify as proper incentive? Patricia's expression didn't change, but Jasmine saw her pupils dilate slightly. Excitement, greed. That would be extraordinarily generous, Patricia said. With that level of support, we could certainly prioritize your application. In fact, we have several teenagers currently who might be excellent matches for you. Would you like to meet some of them? Jasmine's pulse quickened. This was happening faster than expected. Patricia was moving directly to showing them children. We'd love that, Lisa said. Patricia stood. Follow me. The children are in classes right now, but we can observe without disturbing them. She led Marcus and Lisa down another hallway. Through the video feeds, Jasmine saw classrooms with children of various ages, some studying at desks, others in group activities. They looked normal, happy even. But Jasmine knew appearances meant nothing. These kids were living in a facility run by traffickers, unaware that some of them were scheduled to disappear tomorrow. Patricia stopped at a window looking into a classroom. Inside, a dozen teenagers sat at desks working on assignments. A teacher circulated among them, helping where needed. These are our older students, Patricia explained, ages 14 to 17. All of them have been in the system for years. Some have behavioral issues, some have learning disabilities, but they're all good kids who deserve a chance. Lisa pressed closer to the window. Can you tell us about them individually? Of course, the girl in the front row, that's Maria. She's 15, been here 3 years. Very bright, excellent student, but she has trust issues, struggles with authority figures. Maria, Nicole's friend, one of the 12 scheduled for the Tuesday shipment. Jasmine was recording everything, taking notes, documenting every word. And the boy in the back, Marcus asked. That's Kevin, 16. He's had a hard life. Parents died in a car accident when he was 8, bounced through 6 foster homes before landing here. He's angry, acts out sometimes, but underneath he's scared. He just needs stability. Patricia continued describing each child. As she spoke, Jasmine cross-referenced their names with the database Thompson had compiled. 7 of the 12 children Patricia described matched names they'd found in Hutch Pharma's documents. These were the ones. These were the children scheduled to disappear tomorrow. They seem wonderful, Lisa said. Could we potentially meet some of them, talk to them? Not today, I'm afraid. We like to prepare the children before introducing prospective parents. It helps manage their expectations. But if you'd like to move forward, we could arrange meetings later this week. Actually, Marcus said, we're only in Miami until Wednesday. We're flying back to Boston tomorrow night. Is there any way to accelerate the timeline? Patricia hesitated. That's very fast. We understand, but we've been searching for the right situation for months. If Sunshine Haven is the right place, if these children are the right fit, we don't want to wait. We're prepared to increase our donation if necessary. Increase to how much? $750,000, paid immediately upon successful placement. Jasmine watched Patricia's face carefully. The woman was calculating, weighing risks against rewards. Mr. Brennan, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but even with expedited processing, there are legal requirements, background checks that can't be rushed, court approvals that take time. What if the placement was private? Lisa asked quietly. Patricia's eyebrows rose. Private? We understand that some children fall through the cracks in the system. Children who age out, who run away, who simply disappear from the records. If we could help one of those children, provide them a home outside official channels, would that be possible? It was a risk, a big risk. They were essentially asking Patricia to admit to trafficking right there in her office. For a long moment, Patricia said nothing, just studied them with sharp, calculating eyes. Why would you want an unofficial adoption? She asked finally. Frankly, Marcus said, because the system failed us. 2 years of paperwork, invasive questions, bureaucrats questioning every aspect of our lives. We're good people. We have resources. We can provide an exceptional life for a child. But the system moves so slowly, and there are children who need help now. If there's a way to cut through the red tape and actually help someone, we're interested. Patricia walked to her desk and sat down. What I'm about to tell you doesn't leave this room. Understood? Of course, Lisa said. We occasionally facilitate alternative placements for children who are difficult to place traditionally, for families who prefer privacy. It's not advertised, it's not official, but it's a service we provide. How does it work? Marcus asked. The child is officially reported as a runaway or aged out of the system. You provide compensation to the facility for our lost funding. The child comes to live with you under a private arrangement. No courts, no lawyers, no paperwork trail. And how much does this alternative placement cost? $50,000 per child, plus your donation to the facility. $50,000, the going rate for a trafficked teenager. We'd want to meet the child first, Lisa said. Make sure it's a good fit. Naturally. In fact, we have a group of children being relocated tomorrow night. You could meet them before they leave Select One and take them home immediately. Jasmine's blood ran cold. Patricia was offering to sell them one of the 12 children scheduled for the Tuesday shipment, right there openly as if it were a legitimate business transaction. Relocated where? Marcus asked carefully. A facility better equipped for older children. It's in Homestead, more rural, focused on life skills and vocational training. Some children thrive better outside the city. The farm, the place Nicole had warned them about. And if we wanted to adopt one of these children before relocation, Lisa pressed. That could be arranged, but you'd need to decide quickly. The transport leaves at 8 p.m. tomorrow. Can we have time to discuss it? Marcus asked. This is a big decision. Of course, but I'll need to know by tomorrow morning. These opportunities don't come around often. Understood. Thank you for your honesty, Ms. Walton. We appreciate your willingness to work with us. Patricia stood, extending her hand. I hope we can help you grow your family, Mr. and Mrs. Brennan. Sunshine Haven exists to serve children and families. If we can do that outside traditional channels, all the better. They shook hands. Patricia walked them back to the reception area. I'll wait for your call tomorrow, she said. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Marcus and Lisa exited the building. Jasmine watched through the video feeds as they walked calmly down the sidewalk around the corner away from Sunshine Haven. Only when they were 2 blocks away did Lisa speak. Holy shit. Yeah, Marcus agreed. She just offered to sell us a child. Not just any child, one of the 12 being moved tomorrow. She walked us right into the evidence we needed. Rodriguez pulled up in the FBI vehicle. Marcus and Lisa climbed in, and Rodriguez drove quickly toward the hospital. Did you get all that? Marcus asked, speaking to his tie-clip microphone. Every word, Thompson's voice came through the speakers in Jasmine's hospital room. That was textbook work, both of you. We have Patricia Walton on tape offering to facilitate illegal adoption, human trafficking, and conspiracy. That's enough for warrants on everything. Her office, her home, her financial records. Jasmine felt a wave of relief wash over her. They'd done it. Marcus was safe. They had the evidence they could save those 12 kids. But then, Thompson's expression changed. What? Jasmine asked. What's wrong? Bradley Hutchins just got in a car. He's heading toward Homestead. The farm, Jasmine said. He's going to the farm. We have units following him, but if he gets there before we do, he could warn everyone, destroy evidence, move the children. Then we move now. Execute the warrants raid. Sunshine Haven intercept the shipment before tomorrow. If we move now, we lose the rest of the network. Bradley's just one piece. Detective Cooper is still out there. The adoption agencies are still operating. We need to track the full shipment tomorrow, see where it goes, who receives it, and risk losing those kids in the process. Marcus's voice came through the speakers. No, we can't gamble with their lives. We're not gambling, we're being strategic. You're being reckless. Jasmine's blood pressure monitor started beeping. Dr. Morgan rushed in, saw the elevated numbers on the screen, and immediately began preparing a syringe. What are you doing? Jasmine asked. Your blood pressure just hit 160/100. You're going into hypertensive crisis. I'm sedating you before you have a stroke. No, I need to coordinate this operation. Those kids will be fine without you. Agent Thompson and his team are perfectly capable. Your daughter, however, needs her mother alive. The needle pierced Jasmine's IV line. She felt the medication spreading through her veins, felt her thoughts starting to blur. Marcus, she called out. Marcus, don't let them use those kids as bait. Promise me. I promise. His voice came through the speakers, distant, now fading. Thompson, you listen to me? If anything happens to those children because you waited... But she couldn't finish the sentence. The sedative was pulling her under, dragging her into darkness, despite her desperate attempts to stay conscious. The last thing she heard before everything went black was Thompson's voice, calm and clinical. Execute the warrants, all locations. We move in 1 hour. Then nothing. Jasmine woke to darkness and the steady beep of medical monitors. Her mouth felt like cotton, her head fuzzy from the sedative. She tried to sit up and found Marcus asleep in the chair beside her bed, his hand still holding hers. Marcus, she whispered, her throat raw. He jerked awake immediately, his Marine training kicking in. Jazz, you're awake. How do you feel? How long was I out? Marcus checked his watch. 4 hours. It's almost 2 in the afternoon. 4 hours. 4 hours she'd been unconscious while the operation continued without her. What happened? Did they execute the warrants? Are the kids safe? Marcus's expression told her everything before he spoke. It's complicated. Complicated how? He stood up, pacing the small hospital room. Thompson's team hit Sunshine Haven at noon. Patricia Walton was there, but the 12 kids they were planning to move gone. Every single one of them. Jasmine's heart dropped. Gone where? That's what nobody knows. Patricia's claiming they were transferred early to the Homestead facility for a special program. Says it was scheduled weeks ago, had nothing to do with our visit. That's bullshit. Obviously. But without the kids there, without physical evidence of the trafficking, all we have is the recording of Patricia offering to sell us a child. Her lawyers are already claiming it was a misunderstanding, that she was describing a legitimate private adoption arrangement. What about the documents, the financial records, the connection to Hutch Pharma? Still being processed. They seized everything, but it'll take days to sort through it all. And Patricia's not talking, lawyered up immediately. Jasmine threw off her blanket, swinging her legs over the side of the bed. Then we need to find those kids. If they're at the Homestead facility, we go get them. Jazz, you were just sedated. You can't. I can and I will. Those children are in danger right now. Every second we waste, they get farther away. Dr. Morgan appeared in the doorway as if summoned. Agent Reed, you're not going anywhere. Your blood pressure is still elevated, and you need at least 24 hours of rest after that sedation. Children's lives are at stake. So is your daughter's life, and yours. You have preeclampsia developing. If you don't rest, you could have a seizure. You could die. Your baby could die. Is that what you want? The words hit like a physical blow. Preeclampsia. The pregnancy complication she'd been terrified of since her first trimester. High blood pressure protein in the urine, potential organ damage. How bad is it? Jasmine asked quietly. Mild for now, but it can progress rapidly, especially under stress. You need complete bed rest. No work, no stress, no FBI operations. Just rest and monitoring. For how long? Until you deliver, which at this rate might be sooner than 39 weeks. Jasmine looked at Marcus, saw the fear in his eyes. He'd already almost lost them both when Bradley kicked her. Now the stress of the investigation was threatening them again. Okay, she said finally. Okay, I'll rest. But I need to know what's happening with the case. I need updates. I'll keep you informed, Marcus promised. But you have to actually rest. Promise me. I promise. Dr. Morgan didn't look convinced, but nodded. I'll be checking on you every 2 hours. Any sign your condition is worsening, and we're inducing labor immediately. Understood. After the doctor left, Jasmine grabbed Marcus's hand. Tell me everything. Don't leave anything out. Marcus sat on the edge of her bed. Bradley Hutchins led the surveillance team straight to Homestead like we thought. The facility is a farm about 200 acres registered as an agricultural training center for at-risk youth. On paper, it looks legitimate. State licensed, receives federal funding, even has testimonials from former residents. But in reality, Thompson's team is trying to get a warrant, but the judge is pushing back. Says we don't have enough evidence to raid a licensed facility just because Bradley drove there. The recording from Sunshine Haven isn't enough because Patricia never explicitly mentioned Homestead. So those 12 kids are at that farm right now, and we can't touch them. Thompson's working on it. He's got agents conducting surveillance watching who comes and goes, but without a warrant, their hands are tied. Jasmine's mind was racing, despite her promise to rest. What about Detective Cooper? Have they found him? No, he's completely disappeared. His house was empty, his service weapon and badge gone. Either he's running, or he's already at Homestead coordinating the shipment. Or he's dead, Jasmine said quietly. If the network thinks he's a liability, they might have eliminated him. Marcus nodded grimly. Thompson's considering that possibility. What about the adoption agencies, the ones making the fake paperwork? Raided simultaneously with Sunshine Haven. 2 of the 3 directors were arrested. The third, a woman named Dorothy Hayes, committed suicide. Left a note confessing to her role in the network. Said she couldn't live with what she'd done. Jasmine felt a cold chill. She knew this was coming. Someone warned her. That's what Thompson thinks, which means there's still a leak. Someone tipped off the network that we were moving on them. Bradley. He's been under surveillance since he posted bail. He made 1 phone call from his lawyer's office, but it was to his wife. Nothing suspicious. Then who? Marcus hesitated. Thompson thinks it might be someone in the FBI, someone with access to the investigation details. The implications were staggering. A mole in the FBI feeding information to a trafficking network. How many operations had been compromised? How many children had been lost because someone on the inside betrayed them? Does Thompson have suspects? Jasmine asked. He's being careful about who he shares information with. Only his core team knows the full scope of the operation. But Jazz, that's 5 agents plus us. If one of them is dirty, we're all in danger. Jasmine's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Agent Reed, this is Nicole Chen. Have you found Maria? Please tell me you found her. Jasmine's stomach twisted. She texted back, still working on it, stay safe, we'll update soon. The response came immediately. She called me 2 hours ago, said they moved them to a farm, said she's scared, said something bad is happening tonight. Please help her. Tonight, not tomorrow, tonight. Marcus, look at this. She showed him the messages. His face went pale. The shipment isn't tomorrow, it's tonight. They moved it up. Because they know we're coming. Someone warned them. Marcus was already on his phone calling Thompson. The conversation was brief and tense. When he hung up, his expression was grim. Thompson's mobilizing every available agent. They're going in tonight, warrant or no warrant. If those kids are being moved, they're not losing them. I'm coming. Jazz, don't argue with me. Those kids are at that farm right now, and someone inside the FBI is feeding information to the traffickers. We can't trust anyone except each other. I'm coming. You have preeclampsia. You could die. I could also live. But those 12 kids will definitely die if we don't save them tonight. Make your choice, Marcus. Are you helping me get dressed, or am I doing it myself? Marcus looked at her for a long moment. She saw the war playing out in his eyes, his need to protect her versus his understanding that she was right. Dr. Morgan will never allow this, he said finally. Then we don't ask permission. We just go. Marcus closed his eyes, making his decision. When he opened them, he was all business. Okay, but we do this smart. You stay in the vehicle coordinate from there. You don't go near the actual raid. And if your blood pressure spikes, we're taking you straight back to the hospital. Deal. Deal. Getting out of the hospital was easier than expected. Shift change at 2:30 meant the hallways were chaos. Jasmine disconnected her monitors, changed into the clothes Marcus had brought from Miami, and walked out like any other visitor. The baby kicked as they hurried through the parking garage, a reminder that she wasn't just risking her own life with this decision. I'm sorry, Jasmine whispered, placing her hand on her stomach. But I can't let other children die to keep you safe. That's not who your mama is. They met Thompson in an unmarked van 3 blocks from the hospital. Lisa Chen was there, along with 2 other agents Jasmine recognized from the Atlanta field office. You shouldn't be here, Thompson said when he saw Jasmine, and yet here I am. What's the plan? Thompson pulled up aerial photos on his laptop. The homestead facility is 200 acres. Main building here, dormitories here, agricultural buildings scattered throughout the property. If the kids are there, they're most likely in the main building or the dormitories. What's the entry strategy? Marcus asked. Fast and hard. We have a tactical team staging 1 mile out. At 1700 hours, they breach the main entrance, while a second team comes in from the rear. We secure all buildings simultaneously, locate the children, neutralize any threats. What about legal authority? Jasmine asked. You said the judge denied the warrant. Thompson's expression was hard. Exigent circumstances. We have credible information that children are in immediate danger. The warrant requirement is suspended under those conditions. We'll deal with the legal fallout later. In other words, you're going in anyway and hoping you're right. Yes, because if I'm wrong, I lose my job. But if I'm right, and we wait 12 kids disappear forever, that's an easy choice. Jasmine respected that. Thompson was putting his career on the line to save children. That took courage. The van started moving, heading south toward Homestead. The drive would take 90 minutes in traffic, 90 minutes to plan to prepare, to try not to think about all the ways this could go wrong. Talk to me about the facility security, Marcus said. What are we looking at? Lisa pulled up more photos.
Standard agricultural security. Chain link fence around the perimeter, single guard post at the main entrance. No cameras we can detect, but that doesn't mean they're not there. Personnel. Facility director is a man named Robert Carlisle, former military, dishonorable discharge 12 years ago. He's been running Homestead for 8 years, staff of 15, mostly agricultural workers and counselors. Armed? Unknown. But we're assuming yes. Jasmine studied the photos, her investigator's mind mapping out the tactical challenges. 200 acres was a lot of ground to cover. If the traffickers saw them coming, they could scatter the kids across the property, hide them in any of the agricultural buildings. "We need eyes inside before the raid," she said. "Someone who can confirm the kids are there and provide real-time intelligence during the breach." "We don't have time to insert an undercover," Thompson said. "What about a drone? Can we get aerial reconnaissance?" "Too risky. If they spot the drone, they'll know we're coming." "Then we go in blind and hope for the best, unless you have a better idea." Jasmine thought hard. There had to be a way to get intelligence without tipping their hand, some angle they weren't seeing. Her phone buzzed. Another text from Nicole. "Maria just sent me a photo. She says it's where they are." The photo showed a large room with bunk beds lining the walls. 12 teenagers sat on the beds looking scared. Maria was in the front holding up fingers. One hand showing 5 fingers, the other showing 2. "What's she doing with her hands?" Marcus asked. "Giving us a location," Jasmine said. "Building 5, second floor. She's telling us where they are." Thompson was already typing on his laptop. "Building 5 is the eastern dormitory, 2 stories, 4 entrances. If the kids are on the second floor, that limits our breach points. It also makes extraction easier," Lisa pointed out. "We breach first floor, secure the stairwells, extract the kids through the nearest exit." "Assuming the traffickers don't use them as hostages," Marcus said darkly. "Then we make sure we move too fast for that to happen." The planning continued as they drove. Every contingency, every possibility, every potential failure point analyzed and addressed. By the time they reached the staging area, Jasmine's head was pounding and her blood pressure monitor, which she'd slipped on under her jacket, was showing concerning numbers. 148/98, higher than it should be. Lower than it had been, manageable. For now. The tactical team was assembled in a clearing a mile from the farm. 12 agents in full gear night vision equipment, automatic weapons. They looked like military operators, which several of them probably had been. Thompson gathered everyone for a final briefing. "Our priority is the children. 12 teenagers' names and photos are in your briefing packets. We extract them first, worry about arrests second. Rules of engagement are standard. If you're fired upon, return fire. But remember, there are kids in that building. Every shot has to be precise." "What about Detective Cooper?" one of the agents asked. "If he's there, do we engage?" "Cooper is armed and dangerous. If you encounter him, attempt to take him alive for questioning. But if he poses a threat, neutralize it. Clear." Everyone nodded. "Vehicles roll in 10 minutes. Comms check final equipment review, then we move." Questions? There were none. These were professionals. They knew their jobs. Marcus turned to Jasmine. "You're staying here with the command vehicle." "The hell I am." "Jazz, you promised. You stay back, coordinate from safety." That was before we knew the FBI has a mole. Someone could be feeding information to Carlisle right now. Someone could be telling him we're coming. I need to be there to make sure those kids get out safely. "You're 7 months pregnant with preeclampsia." "I'm also the best hostage negotiator in the Southeast Division. If this goes sideways, if Carlisle takes those kids hostage, I'm the only one who can talk him down." Thompson had been listening. "She's right. If we need a negotiator, Jasmine's our best option. She rides in the command vehicle, stays behind the tactical team, but she's there if we need her." Marcus looked like he wanted to argue more, but tactical was loading into vehicles. Time was up. "Fine," he said, "but I'm staying with you. Where you go, I go." They climbed into the command vehicle, a modified van with communications equipment and monitors showing feeds from the tactical team's body cameras. Jasmine settled into a chair, ignoring the way the baby was kicking frantically, as if sensing her mother's stress. "It's okay, sweet girl," she whispered.
Mama's doing her job, protecting the ones who can't protect themselves. The convoy rolled out at 16:55, 5 minutes ahead of schedule, 5 minutes that might make the difference between success and failure. They drove in silence, everyone focused on the mission ahead. Through the windshield, Jasmine could see the sun starting to set, golden light filtering through the clouds. It was beautiful. It was also the perfect time for a raid. Twilight when visibility was poor, but night vision equipment worked perfectly. When people were tired from the day, less alert. When mistakes got made. At 1700 hours exactly, the convoy reached the facility perimeter. The chain-link fence looked exactly as it had in the photos. The guard post was manned by a single security guard who looked bored, until 12 tactical vehicles appeared out of nowhere. The guard reached for his phone, but Lisa Chen was faster. She was out of her vehicle and at the guard post in seconds, weapon drawn. FBI hands where I can see them. The guard froze, hands up. Open the gate, now. I can't. I don't have authorization. Then I'm authorizing myself. Lisa shot the lock off the gate. It swung open. The tactical vehicles poured through. Split up, some heading to the main building, others to the dormitories. The operation was in motion. Jasmine watched on the monitors as agents breached the main building. Shouts of FBI hands up, get on the ground. People scattering, trying to run, being tackled and cuffed. But no shots fired. Not yet. Building 5, second floor, Thompson was saying into his radio. That's our priority target. All units converge. The tactical team approached the eastern dormitory. Through their body cameras, Jasmine could see the building clearly. 2 stories just as described. Lights on in the second-floor windows. The kids were there. They had to be there. Breach team in position. A voice crackled over the radio. Execute, Thompson ordered. The door exploded inward. Agents flooded into the building, clearing each room systematically. First floor empty, stairs clear, second floor, then gunfire. Automatic weapons, multiple shooters. The body camera feeds showed agents diving for cover, returning fire, chaos in the hallway. Suspects barricaded in the common room, one agent reported. Multiple shooters. We have eyes on potential hostages. The kids? Thompson demanded. Can't confirm. Too much smoke. Jasmine's heart was pounding. This was the nightmare scenario. Armed traffickers confined space children in the line of fire. Pull back, Thompson ordered. Establish a perimeter. We negotiate. Sir, if we pull back, they could execute the hostages. If we push forward, we could hit the hostages ourselves. Pull back. Now. The tactical team retreated to the stairwell, weapons trained on the common room door. The gunfire stopped. Sudden silence more terrifying than the chaos. Thompson turned to Jasmine. You're up. Get me a line into that room. Jasmine grabbed a headset, her hands shaking. Negotiation training flooded back. Establish rapport, demonstrate empathy, find common ground, create options. But this wasn't a domestic situation or a bank robbery. This was human trafficking. These people had been selling children for years. They had nothing to lose. Patch me through, she told the communications tech. Static crackled in her ear, then a voicemail angry. FBI needs to back off right now or kids start dying. This is Special Agent Jasmine Reed, she said, keeping her voice calm. I want to help resolve this peacefully. Nobody needs to get hurt. Too late for that. Your people just shot 2 of my men. Then let's make sure nobody else gets shot. Can you tell me your name? Doesn't matter. It matters to me. I'd like to know who I'm talking to. Silence. Then, Robert Carlyle, the facility director, just as they'd suspected. Robert, I know this situation feels overwhelming right now. You're probably scared, angry, feeling trapped. But we can work through this together. No one has to die today. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what's at stake. Then help me understand. Talk to me. What do you need? I need you people to get the hell out of here and let us leave. I can't do that, Robert, but I can promise you safe passage for the children. Let them go and we can negotiate your situation. The kids stay. They're my insurance. Jasmine glanced at Thompson, who was listening to the conversation while coordinating with the tactical team. He shook his head. They weren't giving Carlyle a vehicle or free passage. Standard protocol. Robert, I understand you feel like the children are your only leverage, but hurting them won't help your situation. It will only make things worse. Let me ask you something. Do you have kids of your own? Another silence. A daughter. She's 12. What's her name? Why do you want to know? Because I'm 7 months pregnant with a daughter myself, and I keep thinking about what kind of world I want her to grow up in. A world where children are protected, where adults do the right thing even when it's hard. Don't you want that for your daughter? Don't you dare bring my daughter into this. I'm not threatening her, Robert. I'm asking you to think about her. Think about what you want her to remember about her father. Do you want her to remember the man who hurt children? Or the man who chose to protect them when it mattered most? You don't understand. If I let these kids go, I'm dead. The people I work for don't forgive failure. Bingo. Carlisle wasn't the top of the organization. He was middle management, scared of his bosses. Then let us protect you, Jasmine said. Tell us who you work for. Give us evidence, testimony, everything. We can put you in witness protection, keep you and your daughter safe. Witness protection, right. You think the consortium can't reach me there. The consortium, the same organization that Bradley Hutchins worked for. The network was bigger than just Hutch Pharma. The consortium is about to fall, Jasmine said. We've already arrested Patricia Walton and Bradley Hutchins. We've seized records from Hutch Pharma and 3 adoption agencies. Your bosses are finished, Robert. The question is whether you go down with them or whether you save yourself. You're lying. Bradley would never get caught. He assaulted a pregnant FBI agent on an airplane in front of 47 witnesses. It's all over the news. Check your phone. I'll wait. She could hear muffled voices in the background. Carlisle talking to someone else. Then silence. Okay, Carlisle said finally. Say I believe you. Say the consortium is finished. What's my deal? Full cooperation in exchange for reduced charges. We're talking trafficking, kidnapping, conspiracy. You're looking at life without parole. But if you testify, if you give us everyone above you in the organization, we can recommend a sentence of 15 to 20 years. You'd be eligible for parole in 12. 12 years versus life. Not much of a choice. Better than dying today, because Robert, if you hurt those children, there's no deal. You become public enemy number 1. Every cop, every agent, every prisoner you encounter will know you as the man who murdered kids. How long do you think you'd survive in general population? Marcus caught Jasmine's eye, nodding approval. She was getting through to Carlisle, making him see his options. I need guarantees, Carlisle said. Witness protection for me and my daughter, new identities, clean slate. I can't promise that until you release the children. Show me good faith, Robert. Let the kids go. Then we talk about your deal. More silence. Jasmine could hear him breathing, could almost hear him thinking through his options. Half, he said finally. I'll send out half the kids, 6 of them, as a show of good faith. Then we negotiate for the rest. Jasmine looked at Thompson. He nodded. Okay, send 6 kids out. We'll treat that as proof you're serious about resolving this peacefully. They come out unarmed, hands up. Your people don't shoot. They won't shoot. You have my word. Your word better be good, Agent Reed. The line went quiet. Everyone in the command vehicle held their breath, watching the monitors. Seconds ticked by, then minutes. Then the door to the common room opened. 6 teenagers emerged, hands raised, looking terrified. They walked slowly toward the agents in the stairwell. As soon as they were clear, agents rushed forward, guiding them to safety. Jasmine recognized Maria immediately from the photo. The girl was crying, shaking, but alive. 6 out, Thompson confirmed into the radio. 6 still inside. Jasmine keyed her microphone. Robert, thank you. That took courage. Now let's finish this. Send out the other 6, and we start negotiating your deal. Not yet. First, I want written confirmation of the deal. I want it in writing that I get witness protection and reduced charges. That's going to take time. I need to get approval from the U.S. Attorney's Office. Then you better hurry, because every minute you make me wait, I get more nervous. And when I get nervous, bad things happen. It was a threat, clear and undeniable. Thompson was already on another phone calling the U.S. Attorney. The conversation was heated. Lawyers didn't like making deals under duress, didn't like being rushed. But 6 children were still trapped. 20 minutes, Thompson said, covering the phone. Best they can do. Tell Carlisle, Jasmine said. Robert, the U.S. attorney, is drafting the agreement now. 20 minutes and you'll have it in writing. Can you wait 20 minutes? Make it 15. Okay, 15 minutes. But Robert, I need you to do something for me. Put one of the kids on the phone. Let me hear their voice. Let me know they're okay. Muffled sounds. Then a young voice, female, scared. Hello. Hi, sweetheart. My name is Jasmine. I'm with the FBI. We're going to get you out of there, okay? Can you tell me your name? Sarah. Sarah Morales. I'm 14. It's nice to meet you, Sarah. Are you hurt? Are any of the other kids hurt? No, just scared. He has a gun. He keeps pointing it at us. I know you're scared, but you're being so brave. How many other kids are with you? 5. There were 12, but he let 6 go. That's right. And soon you'll all be going, I promise. Can you put Mr. Carlisle back on the phone? Okay. Rustling sounds. Then Carlisle again. Satisfied. Yes. Thank you for letting me speak with Sarah. 15 minutes, Robert. Hold on for 15 more minutes and this is over. The wait was excruciating. Jasmine watched the clock, watched the monitors, watched the tactical team holding position. Every second felt like an hour. 13 minutes and her blood pressure monitor started beeping. 155/100. Dangerously high. Marcus heard it immediately. Jazz, we need to get you to a hospital. Not until those kids are safe. You're going to have a seizure. Then make sure there's a medic standing by. I'm not leaving. 14 minutes. The U.S. Attorney sent the agreement through. Thompson reviewed it quickly. It's good. Everything Carlisle asked for is here. Witness protection, reduced charges in exchange for full cooperation. Send it to him. Thompson transmitted the document to Carlisle's phone. They waited. How do I know this is real? Carlisle asked. How do I know you won't arrest me the second I walk out? Because I'm giving you my word as a federal agent. If you release those children and surrender peacefully, we will honor this agreement. You have it in writing, Robert. That's legally binding. More silence, the longest silence yet. Then, okay, the kids come out, but I come out with them. I walk out with them, surrounded by them, my gun down, but visible. Your people don't shoot. When the kids are clear, I surrender my weapon. That's the deal. It was risky. Carlisle could change his mind, could grab one of the kids as a hostage at the last second. But it was also their best chance to end this without bloodshed. Agreed, Jasmine said. You walk out with the children. Gun down, no sudden movements. When they're clear, you surrender your weapon. We have a deal, Robert. If your people shoot me, they won't shoot. I promise you, Robert. Let's end this. The line went silent. Then the common room door opened. 7 figures emerged, 6 teenagers surrounding 1 adult male. Carlisle was visible in the center, a pistol in his hand, but pointed at the floor. They moved slowly toward the stairwell. Agents held their positions, weapons trained but not firing. 50 feet, 40, 30. They reached the stairwell. The children peeled away, running toward the waiting agents, who wrapped them in protective embraces. Carlisle stood alone, his gun still in his hand. Put the weapon down, Robert, Jasmine said into the radio. Place it on the ground and step back. You did great. You made the right choice. Now finish it. Carlisle looked at the gun in his hand, then at the agents surrounding him, then at the children he'd just released safe now being led away. He set the gun down carefully, raised his hands. I'm unarmed. Don't shoot. Agents rushed forward, securing him, cuffing him. The crisis was over. The command vehicle erupted in cheers. Thompson was on the radio coordinating the extraction of all 12 children. Lisa was organizing transport for Carlisle to FBI headquarters for processing. Marcus pulled Jasmine into a careful hug, mindful of her pregnant belly. You did it. You saved them. But Jasmine wasn't celebrating. She was looking at the monitors, watching as agents cleared the rest of the facility, watching as they entered building after building, and finding them full of children, not 12 children, not 20, 43 children, ranging from ages 8 to 17, living in squalor, working in agricultural fields hidden away from the world. My God, Thompson whispered, this isn't just a trafficking way station, it's a labor camp. One of the agents was talking to a young boy, maybe 10 years old. The audio was patchy, but Jasmine heard enough. How long have you been here? 3 years, since the people said I was adopted, but then they brought me here instead. 3 years. This child had been trapped for 3 years. Jasmine felt tears streaming down her face. 12 children scheduled for shipment, but 43 total. 43 stolen lives. Her blood pressure monitor beeped again, louder now. 160 over 105. Critical levels. Hospital, Marcus said firmly. Right now. No arguments. This time Jasmine didn't fight. She'd done what she came to do. The children were safe. Carlisle was in custody. The homestead facility was shut down. As the command vehicle raced back toward Atlanta, Thompson's phone rang. He answered, listened, and his face went pale. "What?" Jasmine asked. "That was the team processing Patricia Walton. She's talking. She's giving up everyone in the consortium. Names, locations, operations across 12 states. That's good news. She says the network has been operating for 15 years, not 4. She says they've moved over 1,000 children in that time." 1,000 children. The number was incomprehensible. 1,000 lives destroyed, 1,000 families shattered, all for profit. Jasmine felt the baby kick hard and insistent. Her daughter fighting to be born into a world that allowed such horrors. "We're going to stop them," she whispered, placing her hand on her stomach. "All of them. Every single person involved. I promise you." But first, she had to survive the night. Her vision was starting to blur. Her head pounded. The blood pressure monitor was beeping continuously now. Marcus was on the phone with Dr. Morgan relaying Jasmine's symptoms. The doctor's voice came through the speaker sharp with concern. "Get her here immediately. I'm prepping for emergency delivery. The baby needs to come out tonight." "It's too early," Jasmine protested weakly. "She's only 31 weeks. Which means she has a 90% survival rate. Better than your survival rate if we don't deliver. Marcus, how far out are you?" 20 minutes. "Drive faster." The world was fading now, going gray at the edges. Jasmine fought to stay conscious, fought to stay present for her daughter. She'd saved 12 children tonight, 43 children. But she couldn't save herself. The last thing she remembered before everything went black was Marcus holding her hand, his voice saying over and over, "Stay with me, Jazz. Stay with me. Our daughter needs you. I need you. Stay with me." Then darkness swallowed everything and Jasmine Reed surrendered to it, hoping she'd wake up to meet her daughter in a world she'd helped make just a little bit safer. The sound came first, a steady beeping, rhythmic and insistent. Then voices muffled and distant. Then pain, sharp and immediate, radiating through Jasmine's abdomen. She forced her eyes open. White ceiling tiles, fluorescent lights, the antiseptic smell of a hospital. "She's awake," someone said, a nurse young and efficient leaning over her. "Ms. Reed, can you hear me?" Jasmine tried to speak, but her throat was raw. She managed a nod. "You're in recovery. You had an emergency C-section 3 hours ago. Your daughter is in the NICU. She's stable." Daughter. The word cut through the fog in Jasmine's brain. "Is she okay?" Jasmine croaked. "She's small, 4 pounds 2 ounces, but she's breathing on her own. The neonatologist will give you more details, but the initial prognosis is good." Marcus appeared beside the bed, his eyes red-rimmed from exhaustion and tears. He grabbed Jasmine's hand like a drowning man grabbing a lifeline. "You scared the hell out of me," he said, his voice breaking. "You seized in the vehicle. They had to put you under for the surgery. I thought I was losing you both." "The baby," Jasmine whispered. "I need to see her. Soon. They want you stable first. Your blood pressure crashed during surgery. You lost a lot of blood. Dr. Morgan said it was touch and go for a while." Jasmine squeezed his hand, processing the information. She'd nearly died. Her daughter had been born 9 weeks early, but they were both alive. "The kids from Homestead," she asked. "Safe, all 43 of them. They're being processed through child services, reunited with families where possible placed in legitimate care facilities otherwise." And Carlisle, singing like a canary, gave up 15 names in the first hour, including Detective Cooper's location. That got Jasmine's attention despite her exhaustion. Where? Dead. Found in a drainage canal outside Homestead. Shot twice in the head, execution style. Looks like the consortium decided he was a liability after we started closing in. so Cooper wouldn't face justice for his crimes, but at least he couldn't hurt anyone else. "What about Bradley Hutchins?" Jasmine asked. Marcus's expression hardened. "That's where it gets interesting. Want to hear the whole story or just the highlights?" "Everything. I need to know how this ends." Marcus pulled a chair close to her bed. "Bradley's lawyers tried to get him released on the assault charges, claiming you provoked him, except while they were arguing that in court Thompson's team finished processing the Hutch Pharma documents. Turns out Bradley kept meticulous records. Every shipment, every payment, every child moved through his network. All documented." Why would he document his own crimes? Same reason Patricia Walton did. Insurance. If anyone in the consortium tried to eliminate him, the evidence would be released automatically, mutually assured destruction. "But we got the evidence first." "Exactly. The U.S. attorney filed federal trafficking charges yesterday morning. Bradley's looking at minimum 30 years, maximum life without parole. His bail was revoked immediately." Jasmine felt a grim satisfaction. The man who'd kicked her pregnant belly, who'd nearly killed her daughter, was going to spend the rest of his life in prison. "What about the rest of the consortium?" she asked. Patricia gave us a roadmap. 23 people arrested so far across 7 states. Adoption agency directors, social workers, judges, law enforcement officers, even 2 state legislators who were taking bribes to kill investigations. 23 arrests. It was a significant victory, but Jasmine knew it wasn't over. "That's not everyone, is it?" Marcus shook his head. "Patricia says the consortium has 3 tiers, street-level operators like Carlisle and Cooper, middle management like Bradley and herself, and then the top tier. The people who actually run the organization. The ones with enough money and power to insulate themselves from the dirty work." "Did she give you names?" 3. Vincent Caruso, real estate developer in Atlanta, Margaret Thorne, CEO of a private prison corporation, and Senator James Whitmore. Jasmine's blood ran cold. "A U.S. senator. Former senator. He lost his seat 2 years ago in a corruption scandal, but Patricia says he's still connected, still pulling strings. He's the one who brought the whole network together, created the infrastructure." "Where is he now?" "That's the problem. Nobody knows. He disappeared the day we raided Homestead. Private jet, fake passport gone. Interpol is looking, but so far nothing." So the man ultimately responsible for trafficking over 1,000 children was in the wind. It left a bitter taste in Jasmine's mouth. "We'll find him," Marcus said, reading her expression. "Thompson has agents tracking every lead. It's just a matter of time." Dr. Morgan entered the room, checking Jasmine's chart. "Your blood pressure is stabilizing, 130/85, much better. How are you feeling?" "Like I got hit by a truck." "That's about right. You had a rough surgery, but you're recovering well. If you keep improving at this rate, we can move you out of ICU tomorrow." "When can I see my daughter?" "In about an hour. We want to make sure you're steady on your feet first." "She's doing remarkably well for a preemie. Strong lungs, good reflexes. She's a fighter just like her mother." After Dr. Morgan left, Marcus showed Jasmine photos on his phone. A tiny infant barely bigger than his hand in an incubator, tubes and wires connecting her to machines, but her eyes were open alert, taking in this strange new world. "She has your eyes," Marcus said softly. "She has your stubborn chin." "God help us all." They sat in comfortable silence for a while, just holding hands, grateful to be alive and together. Then Thompson appeared in the doorway, looking uncomfortable. "Sorry to interrupt, but there's something you need to know." Jasmine gestured for him to enter. "What is it?" "Bradley Hutchins tried to make a deal. He says he'll give up Senator Whitmore's location in exchange for reduced charges." "Don't take it," Jasmine said immediately. "That's what I told the U.S. attorney. But Bradley's lawyers are pushing hard. They're arguing that getting Whitmore is worth letting Bradley off easier. Bradley Hutchins assaulted a pregnant federal agent, nearly killed her baby, and trafficked hundreds of children. He doesn't deserve any deals." "I agree, but it's not my decision. The Attorney General is flying in tomorrow to meet with Bradley personally." Jasmine tried to sit up, wincing at the pain. "Then I need to be at that meeting." "You just had major surgery," Marcus protested, "and I'm the victim. I have a right to be heard before they make any deals with my attacker." Thompson nodded slowly. "I'll arrange it. The meeting is at 10 a.m. Can you be ready?" "I'll be ready." After Thompson left, Marcus looked at her with concern and admiration. "You're really not going to rest until this is finished, are you?" "Would you? No. But I'm not the one who nearly died yesterday." "Then help me get strong enough to face Bradley Hutchins one more time, because I'm going to look him in the eye and make sure he understands exactly what he's lost." The next morning, against every medical recommendation, Jasmine was dressed and in a wheelchair being pushed by Marcus into the federal building in downtown Atlanta. Her incision burned with every movement, but she'd taken the maximum dose of pain medication allowed, and sheer stubbornness carried her the rest of the way. Thompson met them in the lobby. "The Attorney General is already here. Bradley and his lawyers are in conference room 3. You sure you're up for this?" "Absolutely." The conference room was cold and sterile. Bradley sat at one end of the table, flanked by 2 expensive lawyers in designer suits. He looked thinner than he had on the plane, his face haggard from stress and lack of sleep. When Jasmine wheeled in, his eyes widened. "What is she doing here?" one of his lawyers demanded. "Agent Reed is the primary victim in Mr. Hutchins's assault case," the Attorney General said. She was a black woman in her 60s named Angela Morrison, with a reputation for being absolutely ruthless. She has every right to be present during plea negotiations. This is highly irregular. So is a wealthy businessman kicking a pregnant FBI agent on an airplane. Now, Mr. Hutchins, you indicated you have information about Senator Whitmore's whereabouts. Let's hear it. Bradley's lawyer spoke first. "Before my client says anything, we need assurances. Complete immunity on the assault charges. Reduced sentence on the trafficking charges, no more than 15 years. "Absolutely not," Jasmine said, her voice cutting through the room like a blade. "No deals, no reduced sentences. He faces the full consequences of his actions." "Agent Reed," the lawyer began, condescendingly, "I understand you're emotional, but I'm not emotional. I'm factual. Your client assaulted me while I was 7 months pregnant. He kicked me hard enough that I had to be hospitalized. His actions led to my daughter being born 9 weeks premature. She's 4 pounds fighting for her life in a NICU incubator, and that's just what he did to me personally." Jasmine pulled out a folder Thompson had prepared. "Your client also trafficked over 500 children through his network in the past 4 years alone. 500 lives destroyed for profit. Children who were beaten, starved, worked like slaves, and in some cases never seen again. So no, I don't think emotion is clouding my judgment. I think justice demands your client spend the rest of his miserable life in prison." The room was silent. Even Bradley's lawyers looked shaken. "Mr. Hutchins," Attorney General Morrison said, "do you actually have information about Senator Whitmore, or was this a desperate attempt to reduce your sentence?" Bradley leaned forward. "I know exactly where he is. He's in Costa Rica in a compound outside San Jose. I can give you the address, the security details, everything, but I want guarantees." "You'll get no guarantees from me," Morrison said. "You'll get a recommendation to the judge that you cooperated. That's it. Take it or leave it." Bradley's lawyers started to protest, but he held up a hand to silence them. He was staring at Jasmine with an unreadable expression. "You really think I'm a monster," he said. "I think you're a man who made choices, evil choices, choices that destroyed lives. I was just moving products, logistics. I didn't know half of what was happening to those kids. You knew enough. You knew they were children. You knew they were being trafficked, and you chose profit over protecting them." Bradley looked away. For a moment, Jasmine thought she saw genuine remorse in his face. But then his lawyer whispered something, and the moment passed. "Fine," Bradley said. "I'll give you Whitmore, but I want it on record that I cooperated." "Noted," Morrison said. "Now talk." Bradley pulled out a piece of paper with an address. "Whitmore is in a villa called Casa Esperanza, about 30 miles outside San Jose. He bought it under a shell company 3 years ago as an escape plan. He's there with his wife and 2 bodyguards. He thinks he's safe." Thompson was already on his phone coordinating with Costa Rican authorities. "Is there anything else you want to tell us?" Morrison asked. "Any other locations, any other names?" Bradley hesitated. There's one more thing. The consortium didn't just traffic children for labor. Some of them, the ones who couldn't work or caused too many problems, they were sold to medical research facilities. Unregistered clinical trials, organ harvesting, things I don't even want to think about. The temperature in the room seemed to drop 20 degrees. Which facilities? Morrison demanded. I don't know specifics. That was above my level. But Margaret Thorne would know. She coordinated those placements through her prison medical program. Thorne is already in custody, Thompson said. We'll make sure she talks. The meeting ended shortly after. As they were leaving, Bradley called out to Jasmine. Agent Reed, wait. She turned her wheelchair to face him. I'm sorry, he said quietly, for what I did on that plane, for everything. I know it doesn't matter. I know sorry isn't enough, but I need to say it. Jasmine looked at him for a long moment. You're right. Sorry isn't enough. But maybe it's a start. Maybe in 15 or 20 years when you get out of prison, if you get out, you can spend the rest of your life actually helping children instead of hurting them. Maybe you can earn forgiveness, but you won't get it from me. Not today. She nodded to Marcus, who wheeled her out of the room. In the hallway, Thompson caught up with them. That was brutal. Necessary, but brutal. He needed to hear it, Jasmine said. Costa Rican federal police are raiding Casa Esperanza in 2 hours. If Whitmore is there, we'll have him by tonight. And if he's not, then we keep looking. But I think Bradley was telling the truth. He wants some redemption, even if it's too late. 3 days later, Jasmine was finally allowed to hold her daughter for the first time. The NICU nurse carefully transferred the tiny infant from the incubator to Jasmine's arms, monitoring tubes and wires with practiced efficiency. She's doing great, the nurse said, breathing completely on her own now. Eating well. Another week or 2 and she might be ready to go home. Jasmine looked down at her daughter's face. 4 pounds, 6 ounces, now gaining weight steadily. Her eyes were open, deep brown and curious, taking in her mother's face. Hi, baby girl, Jasmine whispered. I'm your mama. I've been waiting to meet you. The baby made a small noise, her tiny hand wrapping around Jasmine's finger. Marcus stood beside them, his phone out, recording the moment. She's perfect. She is, Jasmine agreed. She really is. Have you thought about names? They'd debated names for months, but never settled on one. Now, holding her daughter, Jasmine knew exactly what her name should be. Justice, she said. Justice Maria Reed. Justice for what we fight for. Maria for the girl who helped save 12 other children. Marcus smiled. Justice Maria Reed. I love it. Thompson appeared at the NICU entrance, keeping his distance, but catching Jasmine's attention. She nodded and he approached carefully. Sorry to interrupt, he said, but I thought you'd want to know. Costa Rican police got Whitmore. He's being extradited back to the U.S. tonight. He'll be arraigned tomorrow on trafficking, conspiracy, and corruption charges. All 3 tiers, Jasmine said. Street-level middle management and the top. We got them all. We got most of them, Thompson corrected. There are still people out there. Other networks, other predators. But the consortium is finished. 15 years of operation shut down in less than a week. Because Bradley Hutchins couldn't control his temper for 3 hours on an airplane. Because you survived, Thompson said. Because you fought back. Because you refused to let this go, even when you should have been resting. I had help. A lot of help. You were the catalyst. Don't diminish that. After Thompson left, Jasmine held Justice close, feeling her daughter's heartbeat against her chest. So small, so fragile, but so strong. A fighter like Dr. Morgan said. Your mama made you a promise, Jasmine whispered. The day you were born, I promised I'd make the world safer for you. I kept that promise. 43 children are free because of what we did. Hundreds more will never be trafficked because we shut down the network. That's your legacy, sweet girl. You were born into a world that's a little bit better because you gave your mama a reason to fight. Marcus wrapped his arm around Jasmine's shoulders. What happens now? Now we heal. We get justice strong enough to come home. We testify at the trials. We make sure Bradley and Patricia and everyone else in the consortium faces justice. And then And then we live, we raise our daughter, we show her that even when the world is dark and scary, there are people fighting to make it better. 6 weeks later, Justice Maria Reed came home from the hospital. She was still small, just 6 pounds, but healthy and thriving. The house Marcus had prepared was full of flowers and balloons, gifts from the FBI family, celebrating their newest member. Nicole Chen visited the day after they brought Justice home, bringing Maria with her. The 15-year-old who'd been scheduled for trafficking was now in foster care with a family who actually wanted her, actually loved her. "I wanted to thank you," Maria said shyly. "Nicole told me what you did, how you saved us." "You saved yourselves," Jasmine corrected. "You sent that photo with your hands showing the building and floor. You gave us the intelligence we needed. But you came for us. Nobody ever came for us before." Jasmine felt tears threatening. "Someone should have come sooner. I'm sorry it took so long." "You came when it mattered," Maria said. "That's what counts." The trials began 3 months after Justice was born. Bradley Hutchins was first. Jasmine testified about the assault on the plane, showing photos of her premature daughter in the NICU, explaining how Bradley's actions had nearly killed them both. The jury deliberated for less than 4 hours before convicting him on all counts. The judge sentenced him to 45 years in federal prison with no possibility of parole. Patricia Walton received 30 years. Robert Carlyle got 20, with the possibility of parole after 12, honoring the deal Jasmine had negotiated. Margaret Thorne, the private prison CEO, got life without parole after evidence emerged that she'd personally ordered the deaths of 3 children who'd tried to escape her facilities. Senator James Whitmore's trial was the biggest. Media attention was intense. A former U.S. senator on trial for trafficking children. The evidence was overwhelming. Financial records, communications testimony from dozens of victims and co-conspirators. The jury convicted him on all 173 counts. The judge sentenced him to consecutive life terms, ensuring he'd die in prison. On the day of Whitmore's sentencing, Jasmine held Justice in her arms in the courtroom gallery, watching justice being served. "See that baby girl?" she whispered. "That's what happens when evil people think they're above the law. Eventually, justice catches up with them." Justice cooed, grabbing at Jasmine's necklace, oblivious to the historical moment happening around her. After the sentencing, reporters swarmed Jasmine in the hallway. "Agent Reed, how does it feel to bring down one of the largest trafficking networks in U.S. history?" "It feels like the beginning, not the end. The consortium is gone, but there are other networks out there, other children who need help. The fight isn't over." "Do you have a message for other trafficking victims?" Jasmine looked directly into the cameras. "You are not forgotten. You are not alone. There are people fighting for you, people who won't stop until you're safe. And to the predators who think they can hide in the shadows, who think their money and power will protect them, I have a simple message. We're coming for you. Justice is coming." That night, back home, Marcus found Jasmine standing over Justice's crib, watching their daughter sleep. "You okay?" he asked softly. "I was just thinking about all those other children, the ones we saved from Homestead from the consortium. They're safe now, but what about tomorrow? What about next year? How do we protect them from the next network, the next group of predators?" Marcus wrapped his arms around her. "We keep fighting. We teach justice to fight. We raise a generation of children who know their worth, who know how to recognize danger, who know there are people who will come for them if they're in trouble." Is that enough? It has to be, because the alternative is giving up, and that's not who we are. Jasmine leaned back against her husband, watching Justice sleep. Her daughter, her fighter, her hope for the future. "Bradley Hutchins thought he could silence me with violence," she said quietly. "He thought kicking a pregnant black woman would make his problems go away. Instead, it brought down an empire of evil. It freed hundreds of children. It changed the world." "That's karma," Marcus said. "That's justice," Jasmine corrected. "Real justice. Not just punishment for the guilty, but protection for the innocent. Hope for the survivors. A future where children can be children without fear." Justice stirred in her crib, making small noises. Jasmine picked her up, holding her close, breathing in that sweet baby smell.
"Your daddy and I made you a promise," she whispered. "We promised to make the world better for you. We're keeping that promise every single day. And one day, when you're old enough to understand, we'll tell you the story of how you saved 43 children before you were even born, how your mama fought for justice while carrying justice inside her, how one act of violence sparked a movement that changed everything." Marcus kissed both his girls on the forehead. "Best origin story ever." Jasmine smiled. Just the beginning of her story. Who knows what Justice Reed will do when she grows up? Save the world, probably. She's got your stubborn streak. And your courage. And your mother's wisdom, Marcus added, touching the gold band Jasmine still wore on her finger. 3 years later, Jasmine stood at a podium in front of 500 people at a conference on human trafficking prevention. Justice sat in the front row, with Marcus, now a precocious 3-year-old, who'd insisted on wearing her FBI junior agent badge that Uncle Thompson had given her. "When I was assaulted on Flight 1847, Jasmine began, "I could never have imagined where that moment would lead. But that's the thing about justice. It doesn't always come from where you expect. Sometimes it comes from pain, sometimes it comes from surviving what was meant to destroy you." She told the story. The racist businessman on the plane, the kick that nearly killed her daughter, the investigation that followed, the 43 children rescued from Homestead, the collapse of the consortium. "That was 3 years ago," she continued. "Since then, we've identified and dismantled 7 other trafficking networks. We've rescued over 200 additional children. We've trained thousands of law enforcement officers, social workers, and teachers to recognize the signs of trafficking. And we've established the Justice Foundation named for my daughter to provide support and resources for survivors." The audience applauded. Jasmine waited for it to die down. But the work isn't finished. It will never be finished as long as there are people who see children as commodities instead of human beings. So I'm asking each of you to join this fight. Donate to organizations supporting survivors. Volunteer with programs that help at-risk youth. Speak up when you see something wrong. Be the person who comes for the children who need help. After the speech, Maria approached. She was 18 now, about to start college on a full scholarship. Nicole was with her, both sisters beaming. "That was amazing," Maria said. "I still can't believe you remember me." "How could I forget? You were so brave. That photo you sent saved everyone." I was terrified, but I remembered what my counselor told me. Sometimes being brave means doing what's necessary, even when you're scared. "That's exactly right. What are you studying in college?" "Social work. I want to help other kids like me. Make sure they get the support I got." Jasmine felt tears threatening again. "The world needs more people like you, Maria. The world needs more people like you, Agent Reed. You came for us when nobody else would." Justice ran up, grabbing Jasmine's hand. "Mama, did you tell them about the bad man who kicked you?" "I did, baby. And how you put him in jail." "That's right." Justice nodded seriously. "When I grow up, I'm going to put bad people in jail too, just like you." Jasmine picked up her daughter, holding her tight. "You can be anything you want to be, Justice. You can change the world in whatever way feels right to you. I want to save kids like you do." "Then that's what you'll do, and I'll help you." That night, tucking Justice into bed, Jasmine told her daughter a story. Not about princesses or fairy tales, but about real heroes. About social workers who fought for children. About teachers who noticed when students were hurting. About neighbors who reported suspicious activity. About ordinary people doing extraordinary things. "Those are the real heroes," Jasmine said. "The people who see something wrong and decide to do something about it. Like you, Mama. Like all of us, because justice isn't something that just happens. It's something we fight for every single day." Justice yawned, her eyes closing. "I love you, Mama. I love you too, baby girl. So much." Standing in the doorway, Marcus watched his wife and daughter, thinking about everything they'd been through. The assault, the investigation, the near-death experience, the trials, 3 years of healing and fighting and growing. "Was it worth it?" he asked quietly after Justice fell asleep.
Jasmine looked at her daughter, peaceful and safe in her bed. Looked at the photos on the wall showing the 43 children they'd rescued, most of them thriving now in loving homes. Looked at the life they'd built together. "Every second," she said. "Every painful, terrifying, impossible second was worth it. Because that's what justice required. Not convenience, not comfort, but courage. The courage to stand up when you'd been knocked down. The courage to fight when fighting seemed impossible. The courage to believe that one person could make a difference." Bradley Hutchins had kicked a pregnant black woman on an airplane, never imagining that act of violence would destroy him and the empire he served. He'd thought her FBI badge meant nothing. He'd thought her pregnancy made her vulnerable. He'd thought he could intimidate her into silence. He'd been wrong about all of it. Jasmine Reed wasn't silenced. She was galvanized. Her investigation didn't stop, it expanded. And the badge she carried wasn't just a symbol of authority. It was a promise that justice would be served no matter how long it took or how much it cost. In the end, that's what mattered. Not the violence that started this story, but the justice that finished it. Not the hatred that nearly destroyed her, but the love that saved her. Not the darkness that threatened to consume everything, but the light that refused to be extinguished. Bradley Hutchins spent 45 years in prison learning that lesson. Patricia Walton spent 30 years understanding it. Senator Whitmore would die behind bars, knowing he'd been beaten by the woman he'd tried to destroy through his network of evil. And Jasmine Reed, special agent mother survivor, would spend the rest of her life proving that justice wasn't just an ideal, it was a choice. A choice she made every day when she woke up and decided to fight for those who couldn't fight for themselves. That choice changed everything. Saved hundreds of lives, destroyed an empire of predators, created a future where children like Justice could grow up safe, knowing that if they ever needed help, someone would come for them. Someone always comes for the innocent. That's what justice means. That's what Jasmine Reed's life represented. That's the legacy she built from the worst moment of her life. Because sometimes justice begins with violence, but it always ends with hope. And hope, once ignited, can never be fully extinguished. It burns in the hearts of survivors, in the work of advocates, in the courage of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. That fire started on Flight 1847, when a racist man kicked a pregnant black woman and her FBI badge fell to the floor. It grew into an inferno that consumed corruption, saved lives, and proved that one moment of violence could spark a movement of justice that changed the world. And that's exactly what happened.